race under the big top in New Orleans tonight. It's a matchup of two high-powered offenses. After a month and a half away, the Saints are back home. Their quarterback on a record-setting pace. Big plays possible with every snap. Green Bay comes to town with the same record. The quarterback fighting to emerge from an enormous shadow and the best pass defense in the NFL. Off we go with ESPN's Monday Night Football launch, engineered by the GMC Sierra. A couple of teams that played in the NFC Championship game the last few years. Both 5-5. Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. Good evening. Welcome to the wrap-up of Week 12 of the season. I said they're both 5-5. I think both teams feel very different about their record. The Packers, they're right on the edge in the NFC North. Win tonight to stay even with Chicago and Minnesota, both winners yesterday. For New Orleans, though, a very different tale. The NFC South better than people expected. Doesn't look like the Saints are going to win the division. Maybe their only way in is as a wild card. So because of that, very small margin of error for the Saints if they don't get this one tonight. Maybe more important for them than the Packers. New Orleans had a lot of injuries all year. Add tonight to the list, Reggie Bush, their game changer. This is his 4th straight game with a knee injury. All right, let's bring the guys in now. Ron Jaworski, Tony Kornheiser. We know one thing they've done well this year is throw the ball, and they do that with Drew Brees, who through the first 10 games of the season has more passing yards than anyone in the history of the National Football League in that stretch.
Yeah, he's on pace to break Dan Marino's record for single-season total yards, but as he told us the other day, if they finish 500, it's going to be a meaningless record for him. I'm not sure, Mike, that there's any offensive player in the entire NFL who is more important to his team than Drew Brees is to the Saints. Sean Payton thinks he's very intelligent. Sean Payton thinks he has great decision-making capabilities. He dials up 40 passes a game for him because he sees Drew Brees as the absolute extension of himself philosophically in football. It's a perfect combination, and he trusts Brees totally.
Yeah, and there is no question the New Orleans Saints are a passing team. And the cornerstone of their offense is quarterback Drew Brees. And he has a skill set that makes everyone that plays with him better. And when Sean Payton wants a big play, you know what he does? He dials up the play-action passing game. And here's how I see it. He wants to get the ball down the field, but he wants to protect. And that's what play action affords you. You'll see Drew Brees in the play action figure turn his back to a defense. Now, that sucks up the linebacker. Could be A.J. Hawk tonight, in only his 2nd game as a middle linebacker. Now he snaps his head around at the top of the drop, and he sees the cover 2. But he needs to get that safety out of the way, so he looks him off. Now he wants to come back to the other side, locate this safety here, and the linebacker. The linebacker's already too close to the line of scrimmage. That opens up the window, the middle of the field against the cover 2. That's where the ball must go. That linebacker will never get back there. Now here's where Drew Brees is very good. Taking the receiver away from the coverage. Throwing the football deep, throwing the football accurately down the field. It'll be a throw ball this one tonight. Drew Brees,
I love the matchup because Brees leads, Jaws, the best passing offense in the NFL. Going up against the best pass defense. Al Harris, one of the corners, 11th year in the league, a ball hawk. Charles Woodson, the former Heisman Trophy winner, almost a career resurgence in his 11th year, guys. These two leading a secondary that has put up the best numbers. Here they are. Number 1 in completion percentage allowed. Number 1 in the league in passer rating allowed. 16 interceptions, 2nd in the league, and they brought 6 of them to the house. That's what they do. Jaws, how do they do it?
Yeah, it's old school football. When you look at Woodson, you look at Harris, you look at Williams, they love to get in your face, reroute you, be physical, and try to lead receivers into Nick Collins, the free safety position, playing very well as well.
You're lucky you're out of the league. They'd get you out of the league tonight. They'd pick you 4 times.
I know one quarterback who's glad they're in the league. That guy, Aaron Rodgers, behind Drew Brees in his overall passing stats, having a great first season as a starter. Welcome to our high-definition home. You can see the entire telecast in your home on ESPN HD, presented by Sears. What a road trip it is for the Saints. They were in Carolina on October 19th as the home team went across the pond to play San Diego in London, then come back after a week off, play at Atlanta. Follow that with the game in Kansas City 8 days ago. And finally, after a 42-day road trip, they reacquaint themselves with the Superdome. And Tony, Sean Payton is not the only head coach who's familiar with where we are tonight.
That's absolutely right. In the small world category tonight, we have the connective tissue of Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. McCarthy was offensive coordinator here in New Orleans under Peyton's predecessor, Jim Haslett. Peyton, offensive coordinator under Bill Parcells, interviewed for the Green Bay job that McCarthy got and holds now. Both became head coaches in 2006 at the same age, 42, and so far they're the class of that giant class of 10. Both called plays. Peyton for the resourceful Drew Brees, McCarthy for the impressive Aaron Rodgers. Peyton, coaching indoors on turf, likes to pass all the time. McCarthy, coaching in cold and snow, knows he has to run some of the time. Where they differ most is in demeanor. Peyton is a water bug, an energetic, impatient whiz kid. The lumpy McCarthy, with that Sharpie in his hat, gives the impression of something of a schlub. But after Peyton lit up the sky in their first year, taking the Saints to their best season ever, 10-6, and the NFC title game, McCarthy surpassed him in their second year, bringing the Packers in at 13-3. Their story, not unlike the tortoise and the hare. This season, both are 5-5. Peyton is struggling with epidemic injuries. McCarthy maneuvering through a culture change in Green Bay after Brett Favre. Tonight, they intersect in what looks like a playoff elimination game, and we will see if it goes to the swift or to the steady.
And you see the numbers talk about the playoff implication. McCarthy's team needs to win to keep pace with Chicago and Minnesota. And on the other side, Sean Payton's team, a very good division, just have to win to be one game out of third place. They're going to be last no matter what happens tonight. I think we're going to see a bunch of points. New Orleans, Green Bay, kickoff from the Louisiana Superdome next.
You've been watching ESPN's Monday Night Football launch, engineered by the GMC Sierra, the official vehicle of Monday Night Football. Welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
One is cheesy, the Packers and Saints in the Big Easy. The pressure is rising, strap in and hold tight. There's gonna be a battle in the bayou tonight. Ready? Come on and get ready. I mean really ready. Are you ready for the football? A Monday night party. The whole house is rocking. Let's get it kick-started. Launch this thing, raise the roof, that's right. All my rowdy friends are here on Monday night.
Crashing through the roof of the Superdome, 70,000 on hand, set for a pair of 5-5 teams, the Saints and the Packers. Second appearance for each on Monday Night Football. We'll see Aaron Rodgers and the Pack first. Green Bay won the toss and will receive the opening kickoff.
Feels a little different than last week when we were in open air in Buffalo at about -45, doesn't it?
It is a little bit warmer, just a little bit. Will Blackman set to be the kickoff return man. He's had a very good year returning punts as well. Garrett Hartley, third different place kicker for the Saints, set to kick it off. Off we go from New Orleans. And it'll be Blackman from the 2. Return up the middle into traffic. Stop 20. The first hit came from Bobby McCray, and the rest of the company fills in. So here goes Aaron Rodgers. Of course, he was around the Packers for quite some time, waiting for the eventual retirement or move on of Brett Favre. Favre moves to the Jets after 3 years of waiting. Rodgers steps in, 5-5 in his first 10 games, but good passing numbers.
Good numbers, and what I appreciate of meeting with him yesterday, he really has matured. I remember being in Green Bay for that first preseason game, week 1 in Green Bay against Minnesota. Here we are in week 10. He's a much more mature quarterback.
Ryan Grant in the buck 45 against the Bears last week. He's the running back, and Rodgers throws to start the game. Complete to Greg Jennings in front of Jason David. A gain of about 6 yards.
This is probably going to be what I'm going to say the entire game, but this is the great gamble of the 2008 season. The Packers cutting loose Brett Favre and going to Aaron Rodgers. It's the Sarah Palin moment for John McCain, and the Mark Murphy comment was the hardest question to answer is when fans say, are you sure we're going to be better with Aaron Rodgers? Rodgers has been very, very good. The Packers have not been better.
Go back to Phillip the backfield with tight end Torrey Humphrey leading the way for Grant. Not a lot of room. Well, third down coming up. Kendrick Clancy made the tackle. Let's take you through the Green Bay offense behind Aaron Rodgers. Grant, great season at the end of last year, now emerging. They have good fullback play. Their receivers, they'll use 4 different receivers. James Jones, their 5th receiver, is out tonight. Jaws, what they're doing up front, very important to their success in the last couple of weeks.
No question. They're running the football and pass protecting. That's allowing Greg Jennings to get open deep down the field. Of course, Donald Driver has always been an outstanding possession receiver. He'll get you the tough yards on the inside routes.
Play a little tardy coming in, and Green Bay burns an early timeout. 80 seconds in to a scoreless first quarter.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Ford, Drive One, UPS, what can Brown do for you? Find out at ups.com/whiteboard. Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? And Bud Light, the difference is drinkability.
There's some segue from drinkability to Bourbon Street, but we'll let you finish that off at home. It's always a party in New Orleans.
Every street, all the time.
This is what the Packers can do. They can spread you out with 3 excellent wide receivers.
Rookie Jordy Nelson is the 3rd receiver, 87, top of your screen. Saints bring heat. Rodgers quick strike, incomplete. Trying to get to Driver. The former Patriot Randall Gay knocked it away, and a punt coming for the Packers.
Randall Gay did an outstanding job. The New Orleans Saints came with the pressure. That told Randall Gay the ball was going to come out quick. He did a terrific job of driving the route. Know that the ball had to come out quickly. Excellent first series for the Saints.
Where you notice it most, no Reggie Bush punt returning, because he took 2 back when we were here on a Monday night a month and a half ago. Lance Moore back to get the Derek Frost punt. Lets it bounce, and it will be down. A kick of 48 yards with no return. So here comes Drew Brees, and we alluded to it with Tony at the very start. First 10 games of the season, NFL history, nobody has thrown for more yards, 3,251. He passed Rich Gannon's record in Rich's MVP season of 2002 by 56 yards. Brees doesn't have much of a running game, at least they haven't consistently this year. Deuce McAllister, playing on an injured knee, will be one of the 2 backs they'll use tonight. From the 23, the fans chanting for Deuce McAllister. The veteran running back only gets 1 yard. Aaron Campman, Johnny Jolly on the tackle. Let's take you through that New Orleans offense. Behind Brees, McAllister and Pierre Thomas will share the duty. Now, the wide receiving core for New Orleans, a little bit of their story, and Jeremy Shockey. How much more important, Jaws, does Shockey, the tight end, become with Bush out?
Mike, he's critical, because when you look at this Green Bay secondary, Al Harris, Charles Woodson, they are shut-down type corners. They like to play that man-to-man. That means you're going to get your back and the tight end matched one-on-one.
McAllister runs 2nd and 9 to the right. He could not get around Aaron Campman. He doesn't have a lot of elusiveness right now with that knee. Ryan Pickett there on the stop. We're going to have 3rd down coming up. Let's quickly take you through this Packer defense. Outstanding against the pass. They do struggle against the run, as you see the guys playing up front. They lost a key player, Nick Barnett, their middle linebacker, a couple of weeks ago. That means A.J. Hawk has slid into the middle. Yeah, fortunately, they do have A.J. Hawk, and he's a very versatile linebacker. He's played outside most of his career, but he's one of those guys that, you talk about a linebacker, he's a football player, and that's what A.J. Hawk is. I think you could put him anywhere, and he would play well. Jeremy Thompson, 4th-round pick out of Wake Forest, inactive tonight with an injury. First Brees throw is for Pierre Thomas, and it's incomplete. It was Hawk over there on coverage and 3 and out for the Saints to begin.
So we said that there'd be a scoring fest, and both teams would run up and down the field, pass, and neither has gained a yard.
Give it time. Give it time. We'll ease into it.
Watch 2 series.
Sports writers have to make judgments early.
A little surprised at the first 2 Saints offensive plays. Runs.
Most runs they've ever had together.
When Pakalak is the new punter for the Saints. First time he's kicked in the dome. Blackman did a nice job to take it on the bounce, and if he can get to the right side, he's got some room. Cuts it up the middle and into Saints territory at the 38-yard line. Roman Harper helps on the tackle. The kick was 42, and a 27-yard return by Will Blackman puts the Packers in good field position. Green Bay taking over at the Saints 37-yard line.
This is an area where Mike McCarthy likes to be aggressive. This is that go zone. First time, you cross the 50, you got a sudden change, you had a good punt return. This is an area of the field he likes to attack.
So are you suggesting he's going to go deep early?
That is exactly what I'm suggesting.
I just want to make it clear for the people watching.
All right. We will soon find out.
Let's start this drive with 3 tight ends and only Greg Jennings, the receiver, at the bottom. And the throw to Jennings is high and incomplete with Gay covering in Case Faharn, the safety, over for a hit. Well, that's the unit really that'll, in many people's minds, decide what happens tonight. New Orleans defense, especially their secondary. You roll through the guys up front where they are missing Charles Grant and Brian Young. Vilma, the linebacker acquired from the Jets. Jaws, it'll come down to how they cover in the back end.
No question. You look at Kevin Case Faharn and Roman Harper, the safeties. They must play well because they're going to have to play over the top. They're going to have to cover a lot of ground.
Second down, Rodgers sets up the screen to Ryan Grant. Got 2 good blocks. He'll be tackled a couple of yards shy of the first down. Vilma made the tackle. We'll have 3rd and 2 coming up. Ryan Grant, the great finish to the end of last year. He had 929 yards from week 8 till the end of the regular season. Spectacular playoff game against Seattle, but disappointing with a contract situation and a hamstring. Got off to a slow start this year.
It's only averaging 3.9 yards a carry. Last year he was over 5.
That was just his 6th reception of the season. But it does set up 3rd and a couple. And it's Grant on the ground, able to bounce through with a lot of space. Good downfield block by the receiver, Jennings. Gets Grant to the 12-yard line. We'll have first down. Gain of 18.
Excellent run by Ryan Grant. He stayed with the play. He kept his feet moving. He was originally stopped by the defensive line surge, kept the feet moving. You see right here as he gets through that hole. I was actually talking to Ryan Grant yesterday. He talked about his vision. Mike, you mentioned his injury. He hasn't been getting practice reps. He said that hurt him with his vision. You could see there, he saw very clearly that the hole was open.
The Packers starting right tackle Mark Tauscher back to the locker room with a hamstring injury. Tony Mall has checked in at the right tackle spot, 75. Good tight end blocking for Grant. Takes it to the 7-yard line. The Packers end up putting more 3 guys in the backfield than anybody in the NFL. What are they doing and why is it working?
Well, they like to run the power game in the running game. In fact, they've had the most rushes Ryan Grant has out of the I formation. That's kind of a prehistoric formation. and last week, as I was studying game against Chicago, they really ran very well to the weak side. And that's because Corey Hall and John Kuhn are blocking very well.
And they have both fullbacks in the game here to lead the way for Grant on 2nd and 4. Just a toss to Ryan, picking the hole, gets the first down. Brought down by Roman Harper, shy of the goal line.
That looks like something Nebraska did in the 1970s, right, Jaws?
Well, you'll see number 30, number 35, the 2 big fullbacks do an outstanding job of hunting up the linebackers, getting a body on a body, and giving Ryan Grant somewhere to go. Roman Harper, the safety, has to make the tackle, prevent the touchdown, and he does.
Scott Fujita, one of the smartest players on the field out of Cal, saw that his defense was trying to change personnel down at the goal line. The Packers got out of the huddle quick, so they take a timeout. So each team has used a timeout, and Sean Payton wants to know, hey, wait a minute, don't I get time to sub if they've subbed? It's his question as to what happened on that play. And now the officials are going to have a conference here. And we called everybody together for just a moment. Our referee tonight is Walt Coleman.
One thing we know about Sean Payton, he understands the rules.
I think it might be no timeout here on New Orleans. This is something they did last year. In the interest of equity,
right.
If you're subbing in personnel, the other team has a chance to sub in their own personnel.
Seems fair.
Here's the official, Walt Coleman.
There is no timeout charged in New Orleans. Green Bay substituted on the play, and we need to allow New Orleans time to match up. So there is no timeout charge to New Orleans.
So you don't get the last line change like in hockey, right? Okay.
The home team.
Let's make sure about that. Right.
I'm impressed, Tony.
What, that I know hockey exists?
Yeah. You do say hello to Canada every night, so I guess you would know that.
Good night.
3 tight ends, the fullback Kuhn. Dots the eye, takes the handoff. Got close to the goal line. He has a receiving touchdown this year, not a rushing touchdown. It's his 5th carry of the year. And he is stopped just shy. He's trying to get into that touchdown column after Madison Hedgecock of the Giants did yesterday.
Good surge by the Saints defensive line. They held the line of scrimmage. Didn't give Kuhn anywhere to run with the football.
Second and goal, right back to the fullback, and over the top is Kuhn for his 2nd career touchdown on the ground.
Excellent call by Mike McCarthy on the first goal line play. Little submarine by the Saints defensive line. In other words, they're going low, send the next play in, tell Kuhn to go high, and he does over the top for the touchdown.
So that was set up by the poor punt by Pakolak. Returned by Will Blackman, 27 yards, and the Packers take it 7 plays and 37 to get their first touchdown of the night. Mason Crosby adds the extra point. So Kuhn on the ground with a rushing touchdown. First rushing touchdown of his career. His other one was receiving earlier this season. And the Packers score first in New Orleans. From New Orleans, tonight's game also available in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. Green Bay takes advantage of the good field position and the punt return. 37-yard touchdown drive capped off by the fullback Kuhn. And Aaron Rodgers' team up 7-0. Mason Crosby, big leg, one of the good deep kickers in the NFL. Sends it back. Courtney Roby with the return. Former Tennessee Titan somehow did not go down back there at the 20 and kept the return alive out to the 30, where Kuhn and Aaron Rouse were able to stop him. Nice return by Roby. Lifeless here for the moment in the Dome. We'll see if Drew Brees can get the crowd and his team going. Fourth consecutive game, New Orleans takes the field without Reggie Bush. You see, when he left, he was tied for the lead in touchdowns and 2nd in receptions, but he injured his left knee right before halftime at Carolina. Been out since. Breeze to the air to Lance Moore. Down the middle of the field and gone. Lance Moore, will they catch him? No! Touchdown. Flag down into the play. If it stands, it's 70 yards. Flag thrown at the 5-yard line on the near side as the Saints are coming downfield to try to block for more.
There's no foul on the play. Touchdown.
Lance Moore's 6th touchdown receiving on the year.
Just an excellent job by Lance Moore. You see the blitz from Charles Woodson, so Drew Brees has to get the ball out of his hand quickly. He does. The rest is Lance Moore. You see his speed, his quickness when he got in space. Just get to the end zone, and he did.
Now at least you know there's a crowd here.
Yes.
that was the alarm clock for the crowd here.
Atari Bigby, who has been slowed by an ankle injury, it didn't even get a hand on Moore, who went right past him. False start on the left guard for the Saints on this try for point.
Just a really...
False start, 73, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Really good job by Drew Brees, understanding the blitz was coming, get the ball out of his hand. That's what playing the quarterback position is about. Reading coverage, understanding the timing and rhythm of the passing game. There's Charles Woodson, came on the blitz. Drew Brees read it perfectly.
Mentioned at the beginning, New Orleans has had 3 punters and 3 kickers this year. Garrett Hartley hasn't missed a field goal or an extra point. 5 for 5 in each. Makes his first kick in the dome.
People say that one of the characteristics of Sean Payton is that he is impatient. You see it in the passing game and the way he gets rid of kickers and punters. They don't stick around here a long time.
Better make him.
If you're an employer looking...
Next Monday night, we'll just take it to the west over to Houston. Haven't had a Monday night game in Houston in quite some time. Jaguars and Texans, both are 4-7. They got some people. Mario Williams, Steve Slayton, terrific rookie. Andre Johnson, beast of a wide receiver. Played a 3-point overtime game the first time this year, so we'll check out the rematch on Monday Night Football next week. That Drew Brees completion of 70 means 9 games in a row with a completion of 40 yards or more. That sets a single-season NFL record. 7 quarterbacks that previously had 8-game streaks, including Tom Brady last year. Will Blackman kick return. The pile, he'll be down at the 22-yard line. Buck Ortega over there for the Saints, helping out on the stop. Back to the touchdown for the Saints.
Excellent job by Drew Brees of understanding the coverage. Charles Woodson will come on the blitz. In this protection scheme, he cannot be picked up. You'll see Atari Bigby come down in coverage, but the ball comes out of Drew Brees' hand. Both receivers look back in the backfield. They knew it was a hot principle. The ball had to come out. And look at the speed of Lance Moore. No one's catching him.
Lance Moore out of Toledo. He was on practice squads. Worked his way into the rotation with the big play. Now Aaron Rodgers and company back to the ground. Ryan Grant. Big loss of 5 yards for Grant. Bobby McCray came here from Jacksonville. Made the play.
Tonight, Bobby McCray is going to have to play well. He is the edge rusher. You'll see him right there. He's the one that's going to make the play. Does a terrific job of getting around Mount Tauscher and trailing that play from behind.
Tony Mall, because Tauscher's still out
with that
hamstring injury from the first series. Loss of 6, empty backfield. It's the 4-man rush. That pass is knocked down. Ruled incomplete. And we'll have 3rd down coming up. Cedric Ellis, the 7th overall pick of this past draft out of Southern California.
Excellent job by Cedric Ellis. He's being blocked, but he's able to look at Aaron Rodgers, watches his delivery, see the ball coming out, deflects a pass. It's a great skill for a defensive line to be able to handle a block and get your hands up.
Third and long, problem for the Packers against a 3-man rush. Down the seam, nearly intercepted. Looking for Donald Lee, the tight end. Roman Harper, the safety. 3 and out, Green Bay.
This must feel so strange for New Orleans to actually get off the field on defense in 3 plays. They don't usually do that, Joss.
They normally don't. Gary Gibbs did a real nice job there with the design of that scheme. It was 3rd and long. He only rushed 3. That means they dropped 8 into coverage. Very small windows for Aaron Rodgers to throw into. Scott Fujita did a nice job of getting deep, squeezing down that lane for Aaron Rodgers.
Saints fans are desperate to see a punt return. They have not had a return yard in the punt game in 3+ games. Not going to get one here. They're fine with that. Frost missed it, and the Packers are going to take over, or the Saints will take over in Packer territory. McCray made the defensive stop to start it. New Orleans is going to have the ball at the Green Bay 41. Kind of the crowd just sitting waiting for something bad to happen because they haven't had a lot of positive or consistency out of their Saints. They have not won back-to-back games all year. Down 7-0, Green Bay physical with them. Boom, one play changes everybody's attitude.
They haven't had a game
here. The angst-filled Saints fans, is that what you're getting to?
Yeah, that's what they are.
They haven't had a home game here in a long time.
Pierre Thomas is the deep back and gets the swing out from Brees. Good block on the side. to Spring Thomas for the first down at the 27-yard line. John Stinchcomb, the veteran right tackle, made a key block for a 14-yard gain.
Mike, you're absolutely right. Beautifully designed play by Sean Payton. Work the edge of the defense. Get your offensive linemen out on the perimeter. John Stinchcomb did a great job of kicking out. That's the key. You'll see Stinchcomb, number 78, get to the outside. Beautiful kick-out block right there, as you see it on Brady Papinga. Of course, Pierre Thomas does the rest.
27, blitz coming. Breeze gets rid of it. It is caught by Jeremy Shockey at the 24-yard line. Pick up about 4. We mentioned the Drew Brees stats through 10 games. Dan Marino, that record season, is 6th in the first 10 games. Brees, his first year with Sean Payton. Warren Moon, part of that throw-it-all-around Houston offense. Kurt Warner this year has put up big numbers. Rich Gannon in his MVP season. And now Brees through 10 games. Just some perspective.
It's also pretty. That's a pretty graphic.
Yes, it is.
It is. That's pretty.
It's all in the last 20 years or so. So this is the era of throwing the ball in the NFL. It's part of how things have changed. As Brees throws complete to Pierre Thomas for the first down at the 13-yard line. The changes in pass blocking, the things that have allowed people to pass the ball more, added excitement to the game. But still, you have to complete the passes and where guys can catch it and run to get those yards. And that's what Brees did there and does so well.
It's called accuracy, Mike, and it's the most overlooked aspect of playing quarterback. And he does a great job here of putting the ball where Pierre Thomas can catch the ball without slowing down. Against this Packer defense, you're going to have to make tight stick throws. They play a high percentage man-to-man. There are no gimmies. The Packers challenge everything. The quarterback must throw accurately.
Another throw. He's hit his last 4. His last 5. The yard shy of the first down with Devery Henderson out of LSU. Usually catches them big. He's averaging 25 per grab.
As people watch this, they need to remember one thing about the way Drew Brees moves down the field. His best 3 receivers, Marcus Colston, Jeremy Shockey, and Reggie Bush, have all missed significant time. Colston missed 5 games. Shockey missed 3. Bush is now missing his 4th game. He's completing passes to guys they find on Bourbon Street on Thursday morning, put in a uniform, and suddenly they're catching touchdowns.
Really? Bourbon Street, Thursday morning?
Well, St. Louis Street, no, not Bourbon Street.
Thomas the lone back on 2nd and 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Pierre Thomas.
Excellent job by Pierre Thomas. You see the zone blocking scheme right there. Stick the foot in the ground, seal the backside, create the lane. Thomas sees it beautifully, hits it backside for the Saints touchdown.
Thomas, a free agent out of Illinois in his 2nd year. Big game against the Bears at the end of the regular season last year as Garrett Hartley adds the extra point. Coming off a good showing in Kansas City last week, gets the touchdown to put the Saints up 7. The first time since week 3 of 06, so about 2.5 football seasons, that the Packers have allowed 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And New Orleans has responded to touchdowns in less than 4 minutes to take a 7-point lead. Hartley's kick is short. Blackman runs up to get it at the 13. And Blackman going to be brought down 28-yard line by Darian Barnes.
Yeah, and Drew Brees really finding his rhythm right now. Here gets the ball out of his hand quickly, out on the perimeter to Pierre Thomas. Excellent offensive line blocking down the field. Again, Brandon Chiller in his face, gets rid of the football to Jeremy Shockey. Reading coverage beautifully. I love this right here by Devery Henderson. He read the zone. He sat down right over the football. Drew Brees found him. Drew Brees always says, you get to your spot. You get to where you're supposed to be, and I will find you. So far, he's finding him very well.
This is his first one, hit his last 5. Packers take over at their own 28. Rodgers slides out of there. A good runner, Aaron Rodgers, takes it close to the 35-yard line. Jonathan Vilma making a tackle. He's had 34 runs, and obviously with quarterbacks, you have the scrambles and the times they take a knee, but Aaron Rodgers' ability to escape has kept more than a few drives alive.
And he spoke to us yesterday about his ability to read the man-to-man coverage. And if he does get quick pressure, he knows that he can use that mobility to make plays because all those defenders are turning their back and running.
Again, Mark Tauscher, right tackle, still out with a hamstring. Tony Mall, fifth-round pick 2 years ago in. Ryan Grant runs that way. And the spot's going to be close to the mark at the 38-yard line.
One of the other things that Rodgers said yesterday was that if the Packers could start fast, they could play the game downhill. They started fast, and the last thing they expected was New Orleans to come back with 2 touchdowns like that.
Just shy of the first down, be third and less than a yard. And Tony, it happened in a couple of weird ways. One quick play, the 70-yarder, and then the bad punts. If you think about 3 touchdowns tonight, guys, 2 of them the result of great field position by bad punts. Kuhn, the fullback, Rodgers keeping as the first down near the 39-yard line.
It's part of the Bart Starr playbook that every quarterback in Green Bay has to know that you have to sneak the ball every once in a while. McCarthy with the red pen today. We've seen him with blue and red. I don't know if these are political statements that he makes, and I don't know if they alternate, but we've seen him with red pens and blue pens this year.
They should be having blue tonight, right?
Because blue night. Oh. Okay.
Back to 2 fullbacks and Ryan Grant from the 39. Same play they ran down at the goal line, a toss. This time Grant takes it to the outside and gets out to the 46-yard line. Randall Gay off the edge coming to make the tackle. You know, the fullback position just kind of disappeared there for a stretch, but more and more we're seeing fullbacks as big factors on good teams.
Well, you know, the running game this year seems to be becoming more prevalent. You know, you see Madison Hedgecock up in New York. I mean, he's just been a bull leading the way for, you know, that plethora of running backs that the Giants have right now. But clearly, you need that fullback, not to lead the running back, but to pick up the blitzes.
Mike Sellers, Washington comes to mind. Good season he's had. On the play action from the 45, down the seam. Oh, it would have nearly been a touchdown if Greg Jennings could have gotten to the throw. He was wide open.
Wide open, just a very poor throw by Aaron Rodgers. He wished he'd get that one back. Off the play action right here is a blown coverage by the New Orleans Saints secondary. You will never let a receiver get this wide open 30 yards down the field. Greg Jennings, he makes this catch. He walks into the end zone.
Aaron knows it too. Great shot, guys.
Need to put a little air under that one and lay it out to Jennings.
Third and 4, 3 receivers. Saints bring pressure. Rodgers underneath. Corralled by Donald Driver, who takes the first down out to the 30-yard line. Big pickup of 25 yards as Case Verharn wrestles with Driver.
Yeah, excellent job right here. Man-to-man coverage. Going to get a little rub element there to get Donald Driver open. As you can see, Randall Gay could not get over and make a play. There was a little interference run in front of him. We don't want to call that a pick. We call it a little bit of a rub. But in anticipated coverage, they got the man coverage, and the rub effect worked.
Packer fans glad to see Driver in the lineup here tonight. That big gain. Now they run it with Ryan Grant for only a yard. We bring up Driver being in the lineup. He missed practice Wednesday and Thursday. He flew to Houston after his father was hospitalized, Marvin Driver. His dad was arrested early Monday morning, brought in for outstanding traffic warrants. When he arrived at the city jail, a doctor found Donald Driver's dad unresponsive, and the family says that he was beaten by the arresting officers. 3 Houston police officers taken off patrol duty. Internal investigation underway. Marvin Driver released from the hospital this weekend. Donald telling Michelle Tafoya before the game, as you heard on Countdown, and watching the game at home tonight. 2nd and 9 for Ryan Grant. 2 yards shy of the first down as Jonathan Vilma makes the tackle. We have 3rd down coming up.
Nice job by Aaron Rodgers here in the pocket. Looking downfield, it was not there. Take the check down, get a positive play. Vilma reading it nicely, avoiding the big play. Negating the big play, bringing up this 3rd down and 1.
Kendrick Clancy coming on in here late on 3rd and 1. Sean Payton runs down and takes a timeout as the Saints had defensive personnel confusion.
This is There's 11 seconds left in the longest first quarter in the history of the National Football League. It's going on for almost an hour now.
Really? Has it been long?
Yeah.
That's a timing.
Seriously,
This is exciting. Quarters.
I'm just saying it's going on for us. A lot of scoring, which makes it good and makes it fun. But you know, when the game is over and it's 2 in the morning, you'll say, well, what happened?
Well, I think they'll be glad to be here for a while, given the importance, especially with what they watched yesterday. Think of you're the New Orleans Saints. You're waiting for this home game, a nationally televised game. And like everybody under the sun in the NFC keeps winning ahead of you. So even if you get to 6-5, you still have a mountain of teams in front of you. And then you're the Packers. You see Minnesota and Chicago win. They get to 6-5. And now you know you've got to win tonight to keep in touch with them heading down to the final 5 games of the season.
Everybody likes to talk about sense of urgency. I think we would all agree, though, that New Orleans, because of its relative position in the division, needs this one more. Yeah. They could face, as early as it is in the season, they could face playoff elimination if they lose this.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to come back from 5 and 6. You kind of figured 10 wins is going to be what it takes to get in the NFC.
Yeah, the Saints have been poor on 4th down, 62.5% converted to first down in these situations.
3rd and 1 run for Ryan Grant will get the first down and bring us to the end of the first quarter. Green Bay handling the Saints early, but one big play and then a quick touchdown drive puts the home team up 7 after 1 in New Orleans. In this season of a very good quarterback play in the NFC, these two guys have put up very good numbers. Aaron Rodgers leading an early touchdown drive. Drew Brees licking his chops after the first couple of drives. 70-yard touchdown pass to Lance Moore, and then answering with a quick drive where he hit all 4 of his passes for another touchdown. 14-7 New Orleans start the second quarter. Mike Tirico, Tony Kornheiser, Ron Jaworski, Susie Colbert on the sideline here at the Superdome in Louisiana.
That shot of Breeze, he may pass Dan Marino tonight.
For the all-time mark?
Yeah, that's right.
The Packers secondary known to be right there at the top in respect for how they cover and how they perform. Their run defense has been a question at times this year. Good Green Bay drive going. It started back at their own 28. Picking up with 1st and 10, and Rodgers, good speed on that one. A 9-yard gain. It'll be to Donald Driver. We'll have 2nd and 1 coming up. And Aaron Rodgers down in the red zone, where a little bit of the ability to throw it that hard has helped him. 30 passes without a pick, 3rd most in the league. 9 touchdown passes without an interception. Best red zone numbers in the league. And that pass rating, compilation of all the key stats for a quarterback, just under 100, 6th in the NFL. And the perspective, any quarterback rating around 100 is right up there at the best of the bunch.
And remember, in the red zone, the completion percentage is about 10 points less than in the field.
Yes, Ryan Grant runs it for the first down to the 7-yard line. So quarterback 10 starts in for those kind of red zone numbers. What does our quarterback think about that?
Well, I think he's got a really good arm. That really is key to me. You've got to be able to squeeze the ball into those tight windows. Defensive teams now, they get in this area, they kind of give you the 3 points. They'll rush 3, drop 8 into coverage, try to force you to squeeze one in there. As you can see, Aaron Rodgers has the big arm to be able to get the ball in.
Aided by the strong complementary running game down here. In the 7, play action, and a strike for the touchdown to Greg Jennings, his 6th of the year. And Rodgers continues his solid red zone play this year. In front of Jason David.
You'll see the play action fake. That'll take the linebackers inside. Now there's a big lane to throw the football into. Now it's one-on-one. Greg Jennings has to win. You'll see it right there. Extend the football. Fujita hits the play. That opens up the passing lane. Really good throw. Greg Jennings makes the catch on Jason David.
Mason Crosby adds the extra point. Aaron Rodgers' 16th touchdown toss of the year. The 6th to Greg Jennings.
So you're wondering,
the city that is crescent-shaped on the east bank of the Mississippi. Aerial coverage of New Orleans tonight, provided by DirecTV. Superdome sitting off the edge of the Central Business District here in New Orleans. Packers tie the game with a 12-play, 72-yard drive. And Rodgers hit his last 4 on it, including the touchdown from Greg Jennings, who's emerging as one of the elite receivers in the NFC.
It's a little-known statistic, but I believe the Packers lead the league in starters named Aaron, who may go to the Pro Bowl. What do you think, Mike? Campman and Rodgers?
Trying to find another Aaron.
That's right.
Starter, his first name. Mason Crosby with the kickoff, short, fielded on the run by Courtney Roby, who hit the seam hard, and Will Blackman, who returns kicks for the Packers, got the Saints kick returner at the 23. Before Breeze, let's go back to the Rodgers touchdown.
And Aaron Rodgers has worked very hard on his play-action faking. He wants the pass to look exactly like the run, like it did there. He does a terrific job with the play-action fake. Now you look at it from here. Watch Scott Fujita, number 55. He thinks it's a run. Now Rodgers comes out. There's a nice passing lane. And when you look at the numbers, they bear out that Rodgers has worked hard at it. His quarterback rating coming in this game in play-action situations is 115, the best in the National Football League.
Breeze pretty good at it, too. Drew handing off to Pierre Thomas to the 29-yard line. Mike Montgomery made the tackle. Play-action passes, NFL average. Passer ratings, 91. Breeze at 108, very good. Rodgers at the top, as you mentioned, Jaws, at 115. And it's got to be the worst feeling for a linebacker like Fujita, and the best feeling for all your quarterbacks when they see a linebacker sucked in on play action. It's that aha split second. Gotcha.
That's what it's all about, getting someone out of position and opening up the window.
Breeze emptied out the backfield. Has a lot of time here. Oh, and that is nearly intercepted, yet it is caught by Moore, who was never touched, and has the first down at the 40-yard line. Charles Woodson is tied for the NFL lead with 5 picks. He thought he had the lead to himself with 6.
Well, I said Drew Brees is going to have to throw in the tight windows all day. Charles Woodson in good position on Lance Moore right here. Not a lot of space to get that ball in, and Drew Brees gets it there. That's called accuracy. It actually just grazed the fingertips of Charles Woodson.
It's also called an 11-year veteran. A little slight tug on the jersey just to help propel him toward the ball. Darian Barnes, the fullback. Play fake to Pierre Thomas. Breeze over the levels of the defense to Jeremy Shockey, the ex-Giant at the 42. 19 yards. Breeze has hit 7 in a row.
Yeah, Jeremy Shockey's going to need a big game tonight. Here you see the zone coverage. He's going to look for the void. Does a nice job of seeing the hole. Settles down in that hole before Charles Woods can come over and make the play. Shockey is beginning to learn and understand this system.
4-time Pro Bowler. You see that portion of the season, his first season in New Orleans that he missed with the sports hernia. Pierre Thomas the carry, gain of 2. Sports Center right now, and here's John Anderson. John?
Thank you, Michael. Suit up, shut up. That describes Adam Pac-Man Jones' first day back with the Cowboys. Rehab complete, reinstated again. Jones returned to practice, did not speak with the media, doesn't plan to this week. He is eligible to play again December 7th against Pittsburgh. Same division, Eagles coach Andy Reid says Donovan McNabb will start Thursday against the Cardinals. He was benched second half yesterday. Reid said he's got to coach better, McNabb's got to play better. Full Sports Center after the game.
Well, we'll find out Thursday as the Eagles host the Cardinals on Thanksgiving night. Phillies fans should be in a wonderful mood.
Oh, yes.
From the 39, Breeze complete to the 32-yard line, going right back to Shockey in front of Brandon Chiller. So a second round and a 5th round pick to trade to get Jeremy Shockey. It hasn't been an instant impact, but it's starting to build.
Yeah, and these are the kind of games where Jeremy Shockey must come to the forefront. You're going to get the one-on-one, man-to-man coverage on the outside. You're going to get your tight end matched up against a linebacker. Here you see Brandon Chiller in coverage. That's a matchup that Shockey should win on a consistent basis. Not to take anything away from the linebackers, but the tight end with Shockey's ability should win the majority of time.
3rd and 1. Fans react as Deuce McAllister checks into the lineup with Pierre Thomas. A little toss to Deuce on the edge. Runs over Woodson, and not the speed, but the strength of McAllister. Gets the first down shy of the 30.
We go back to Shockey for a second. He's a controversial player. He had, I think it's fair to say, a certain jerk quotient in New York.
The Giants were not at all unhappy to get rid of him. They felt that they could win the Super Bowl without him when he was hurt, and they would just cast him off. He comes to New Orleans, though, playing for Sean Payton, who he played for at the Giants with enormous expectations. Already had a small blow-up with Drew Brees that we will get to later in this game. But Sean Payton feels he's a very important part of this offense.
31, fake to McAllister, and Billy Miller, the tight end, catches and extends it out to the 23-yard line, a couple of yards shy of the first down. And right now, it's a 7-on-7 drill for Brees.
Yeah, it's really a very efficient game right now for the New Orleans Saints. They're running inside. They're using a little flip to the outside. They're using the play-action passing game, using the short passing game in the middle of the field, getting the ball to the outside. Right now, everything seems to be working for the Saints.
Brees missed his first one, has completed his last 9. Second and short, swing out to Thomas, got a nice block. Pierre Thomas with the first down at the 15-yard line. Brady Papinga brings him down.
When you're 6'6", 313 pounds, as number 70 Jamal Brown is, you just have to get out in space. People have to run around you. You'll see Brown get to the outside, does a terrific job of screening back to the inside. Charles Woodson cannot make the play. Pierre Thomas takes it up the field.
Brown, the first-round pick out of Oklahoma, back in the 05 draft, 13th overall choice. Jamar Nesbitt is checked in at the right guard spot to get Jahari Evans. In the red zone, Brees with time. And Lance Moore. And another New Orleans touchdown. Touchdown number 2 on the night for Lance Moore, who scored in London and was fined for his celebration. He's learned how to locate him because he's getting the end zone more often.
Mike, you absolutely nailed that. It was all about time in the pocket for Drew Brees. He was able to survey the field. He wanted to get the seam route down the middle. It wasn't there. He had Lance Moore coming underneath, found him for the touchdown.
Extra point knocked in by Hartley. Great play at the goal line as he jumped over Aaron Rouse.
Yes, it's beginning to feel like Texas, Oklahoma. We could get 75 points here tonight.
Regain your sight.
Well, the cry down here very often is let the good times roll, except if you're on defense tonight. Well, this has been an offensive show. 35 points in the first 21 minutes of this one.
It's not surprising that New Orleans wouldn't have a great defense. It is somewhat surprising that the pass defense of Green Bay has not bothered to play this game yet.
Well, they came into this game allowing offense to complete only 51.5% against them. Drew Brees is riddling them right now.
Will Blackman returning the kickoff and spun down at the 15-yard line by the newly acquired fullback Darian Barnes. Love the stories of a guy like Lance Moore, cut out of Cleveland's camp, been on the practice squad in New Orleans for 2 years, worked his way up, in this game, 2 touchdowns. After we started with a 3-and-out for each team, we've had a touchdown on 5 of the last 6 possessions.
Now, Tony was upset after the first 2 possessions. He's settled down now, right, Tony?
Not upset now.
Saints lead by 7. Packers had a 12-play touchdown drive the last drive. Brian Grant for 3. Take us back to the touchdown by Lance Moore.
Yeah, what a great move by Lance Moore. You'll see him come in there, number 16. He gets matched up on Nick Collins right in here. Nick Collins is going to drive this route. It's called a jerk route because the ultimate result of it. What a great move by Lance Moore. Ran out of his shoe, taking it to the end zone.
You see that in sports, but it's usually somebody trying to guard Allen Iverson on a crossover.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Second and 6, back to the ground game, and Grant. But Ryan Grant looks like the runner at the second half of last year as you watch last week's Chicago game in Lambeau and the first half here tonight in New Orleans. 12 carries, 48 yards. That man is truly a clown. 3rd and 2. Rodgers rolled it that way to Driver in front of Randall Gay, and a first down for the Packers.
You know, we talked at the top of the game of maybe the tortoise and hare quality of Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. In these drives, it's the same way, right, Jaws? That Green Bay is much more methodical in getting up and down the field, whereas New Orleans is just exploding right away.
They're an explosive football team. Sean Payton designs big plays. He loves to manufacture points.
Torrey Humphrey, the tight end, coming back there to block. Rodgers steps up, throws it deep downfield for Jennings. In coverage with Jason David, the former Indianapolis Colt. It's incomplete.
Excellent coverage by Jason David. You know, he's been in the doghouse. Last year he had a rough year, but as I've watched him this year, he's been much improved. Hear that press bail technique. He lines up in a press position, then bails out, and he's running stride for stride with Greg Jennings.
Remember David in that nationally televised season opener. First game after he left the Colts, the champion Colts, he came to New Orleans, was toasted by Peyton Manning, Marvin Harris, and Reggie Wayne and company.
That was torture.
Lost the starting job here, but back in the lineup with injuries to Mike McKenzie and Tracy Porter. Rodgers to Jennings, on the run through the secondary. Lee Torrance, who was just claimed a couple of weeks ago from Washington, off waivers, makes the tackle a couple of yards shy of the first down. Aaron Glenn, another player, in addition to Tracy Porter and Mike McKenzie, cornerbacks who are missing. Porter and McKenzie are out for the season. Glenn out for tonight, the 15-year veteran with an ankle injury. Third and 1. It is Grant for the first down and more. And the former New York Giant gets out to the 48-yard line. Tackled by Roman Harper, and Tony Mall, who's in there for Mark Tauscher, helped throw a nice block.
Last week, the Green Bay Packers dominated the Chicago Bears inside. You'll see an excellent job right there. Great block by Corey Hall. That frees up the lane. You saw the beautiful run by Ryan Grant. Good tackle, of course, by Roman Harper, saved a touchdown.
Packers picked up their last 5 third downs, and this is Grant across midfield into New Orleans territory at the 48-yard line. And guys, we talk about Rodgers running back Ryan Grant. September 1st, 2007, he was traded from the Giants to Green Bay. Just think about the running backs the Giants have now. You know,
There would be no
Ryan Grant.
Where would he play?
Well, that's why he didn't play.
That's right. And Green Bay was so desperate in their running back search. Brandon Jackson, who's in the game now, their second-round pick out of Nebraska in the 07 draft, is emerging into a good, multifaceted back. Wasn't ready for that role last year. Rodgers on the run. Jennings running wide open. Get to 1,000 yards tonight. First down at the 26-yard line. Gain of 22.
Yeah, that's that go zone. That team's crossed that 50. They like to attack. And just a little play action with the rollout by Aaron Rodgers. We got a deep post clearing that big void for Greg Jennings coming across. Well, you watch Aaron Rodgers, just a really good command of what he's doing. Eyes downfield. Good quick delivery of the football, catchable football, hits the receiver in stride. Aaron Rodgers playing at a very high level this season and tonight.
To Grant to the right. Only going to be a good hit. Coming up from the secondary by Usama Young, backup cornerback. You know, Jaws, you bring up the fundamentals, the calm, the poise of Rodgers. We have to remember it's his 11th game. The whole Brett Favre saga that seemed to drag through the entire summer, but was really only about a 5 or 6 week stretch. And a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy and everybody else in the organization going to Rodgers. And we've seen his numbers and his performance be very solid, Tony, as you said at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
Second and 9, underneath the road, a yard shy of the first down for Jennings.
Here's the thing.
Donald Lee, I beg your pardon.
You have to look at Rodgers with the backdrop of Brett Favre. He competes today with Drew Brees, but he also competes with Brett Favre. Favre had a great game yesterday. Tennessee finally got a loss. Favre has now engineered 5 straight wins by the Jets. And I know that people in Green Bay have moved on to some degree, and they root for the Packers, and they root for uniforms. And Rodgers has been great. But around the country, people are still saying, well, did the Packers make the right move? You see Rodgers moving the team like this, and it's easy to say, yes, they did.
3rd and 1, they go to the run with Brandon Jackson, and he'll get the first down at the 15-yard line.
But ultimately the way, and I know you know this, George, ultimately the way quarterbacks are judged are with wins. That's Ted Thompson, right? It was he and Mike McCarthy pulled the trigger on that, and they decided right now we're going to take a 13-3 team. We're going to give it to Aaron Rodgers. And the great question was, would he win as many games as Brett Favre did last year? Could he advance in the playoffs? Could he be the championship quarterback in his first year? And that's an enormous amount of pressure. Not just following Favre, but having the expectations of a 13-3 team that was 1 game away from the Super Bowl last year.
A run out of the gun with Grant gets just a yard and a half. Tackled by Bobby McCray and Scott Shanley. That'll take us down to the 2-minute warning.
You know, and Aaron Rodgers is playing well. Brett Favre is playing very well.
Yes.
We won't know the outcome of this for years to see where Aaron Rodgers ends up. We know Brett Favre will end up in Canton in the Hall of Fame. Sure. Where will Aaron Rodgers end up? We don't know.
2-minute warning.
I hope he ends up in the playoffs this year at the very least.
Packers driving for a tying TD. We have a Toyota halftime show coming up with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson talking about Kerry Collins and the Titans' first loss. Why did they lose? And Read and React. TJ will look ahead to our second half here in New Orleans. 40-30 is the number that sticks out to me. The amount of time the Jets had the ball, 40 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, I thought you were calling the score tonight.
No.
You're going 40-30 tonight.
The why the Titans lost.
Yeah, Jets held it.
That was an impressive show by not just Favre in the offense, but Chris Jenkins and that Jets defense keeping the Titans off the field. The guys will have their view on it at halftime. You see our first half, very few plays for the Saints, but 10 yards of play. Meantime, some controlling drives by the Packers. Scored on a 12-play drive earlier. This is play 13 of this drive. It is Rodgers throwing to Grant. He's swarmed by Kendrick Clancy, and the Saints will take their second time out of the half with 1:52 to go, trying to preserve some time so they can score again.
That's a Sean Payton mentality. Leaves seconds on that clock. We want to score more points.
3rd and 5 coming up after this timeout.
You think the...
Out of the timeout, Sean Payton, the Saints coach, is urging the Saints fans to make some noise here on 3rd and 6. Green Bay's converted its last 6 third down conversions.
The Saints defense getting the crowd fired up.
Packers 3 receivers, Saints 5 DBs. And Rodgers, nobody open, taken off. First down to the goal line, in, touchdown. Ruled that he broke the plane, 4th rushing touchdown of the year.
Just another real good job by Aaron Rodgers recognizing the defense. He gets in space. He knows he's going to be one-on-one once he breaks the pocket with Kevin Casevarn. You'll see him look downfield, a little pump fake right there. Why do secondary guys fall for that? I don't know. But Casevarn misses the tackle. Harper comes in too late.
And players are so good at that. The ability to keep their body up and just have the ball as that farthest extension of their arm, able to break the plane. Again, last 2 minutes, any review of the play would happen from upstairs and the replay booth. But that one looked good.
It looked great. It looked great. He laid out. Nothing touched the ground. It'll be a Packers touchdown.
And you notice the officials take their time in blowing the ball ready for play on the extra point just to make sure there has been time to look at it upstairs. And that's a touchdown. Rodgers, 5 of 6 on the drive, adds the 10-yard run. And the extra point for Mason Crosby squares the game at 21 with $1:44 to go.
Here's Brett Favre yesterday against the Titans. His name, they're 8-3 now, the Jets. That's the biggest win of the year, beating an undefeated team. Favre has 20 touchdown passes, and they were 4-12 last year. They're going to make the playoffs. His name is now up there as an MVP candidate, right, Jaws?
It absolutely should be. And not only at the way he's throwing the football, the way he's playing. It's the leadership he's brought to that football team. We all love the way Brett Favre plays the game. You watch the Jets now, they're an exciting team to watch. They're a high-fiving, back-slapping, fun bunch of guys. That comes from Brett Favre.
That's why I think, and I know you'll poo-poo this, that Aaron Rodgers, every time he goes out, he competes against the other quarterback, and he competes against Brett Favre. So there's not only Drew Brees to worry about.
I think that's ridiculous. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous statement. When you're a quarterback, when you're a quarterback, your focus is on your opponent.
I don't mean consciously, I mean subconsciously.
I don't think so. You have to be so focused on what you do. He doesn't care about what Drew Brees is doing or Brett Favre. He's worried about doing his job.
Well, thanks for ruining my night, then. Taking my whole metaphor.
Courtney Roby with the return. And Roby with space on the near side. Good field position, maybe even more than that. Roby again tackled by his opposite number, Will Blackman, the kick returner, but all the way down to the 31-yard line.
There is nobody turning out on this game. It's not possible.
Why wouldn't you?
Not possible.
If you love offense, this is where you want to be. Call your friends.
You were the one, you and Mike pointed out that Peyton said, okay, we'll take a timeout. Let's just save the time. Now they're in position probably to score twice.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy will be calling time now.
Yeah.
63-yard return by Roby, who signed as a free agent about 6 weeks ago, October 16th, inactive for a couple of games and inserted because of his kick return prowess. Started the season with the Colts, a game there. But Courtney Roby's been a big add-on. When you take Reggie Bush off this team, you need to make a splash in the return game, and Roby's doing that. They blitz Brees on first down, and he throws complete. Shockey, the strength to take it away from Nick Collins and take it to the 18-yard line.
That's one of the reasons you want Jeremy Shockey. He can catch it, he can hold it, and he can drag a guy down for about 5 or 6 more yards.
Once again, Drew Brees throwing into that tight man-to-man coverage, putting the ball where only Shockey could make the catch.
They blitzed him. They made him pay for the gain there. Now Brees throwing again inside to Lance Moore. He gets it to the 12. Lance's 4th catch. He's near 100 yards. Brees continuing to go red hot. He's hit 13 consecutive passes.
Well, this is just a surgical drive.
Last game here, he completed 16 consecutive passes against the Raiders. Now Pierre Thomas a run. First and goal, 43 seconds left. And the Saints still with a timeout in their pocket.
Well, you love dialing up offensive plays right now. Everything's working.
And movement on the left side. It cost New Orleans 5 yards here. The officials having a conversation. Brees is in there with the referee, asking a couple of questions, including where you are in terms of the timing on the clock with that flag.
False start, 70, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Penalty on Jamal Brown. You're first and goal, so you may say, why aren't they rushing up? You're going to take a timeout here. Use that last timeout. Because, Ron, in this situation, you have time with your clock to get 3 plays off and a field goal attempt if you go incomplete on 3rd down.
Yeah, there's no need to panic right now. Keep your poise. You got the whole, you're still only at the 12-yard line. You pretty much have everything available.
This seems like situational coaching for Sean Payton. He's aware of clock. He's aware of distance. He's aware of down. He's probably got like 2 or 3 plays ready to go for exactly this circumstance. He probably gamed this out I don't know, last September or October, over a year ago, because he's prepared for virtually everything that comes up. They work on plays in practice, the oddest sorts of plays, to be ready just for these situations.
Yeah, 18 unique situations, he called them. They work on every single week. And that's what you have to do as a coach in this league. You work on the things that other people may not be working on. Because sooner or later, they're going to come up in some game, and you want to be on the edge. You want to find a way to use that unique situation to your advantage.
Penalty keeps it 1st and goal. Now, remember, New Orleans out of timeouts. As Breeze is in trouble, tries to get rid of it with Kentman hanging on to him. Now, let's see where that pass will be ruled. Incomplete or a sack. We're sitting at 16 seconds. I haven't seen a complete signal. You have very few eligible receivers anywhere near where Breeze was. To the best of my recollection, he's in the pocket.
Well, Campbell was pulling him down, though, so he was trying to throw the football down the field. You see Aaron Campbell is pulling his shoulder down. Drew's trying to throw the football. As he's throwing it, he gets pulled down.
But he hits an offensive lineman as he throws it.
That is correct.
And it was called an incomplete pass, so I'm really surprised that was not grounded.
Illegal touching.
Illegal touching, either or. Wow, 2nd and goal, 12 seconds now. Got to get rid of it to the back of the end zone and throw it away to see 3rd down. Breeze throws back across his body. It's nearly intercepted. We have 6 seconds left. Now a decision for Peyton. Do you have time for a shot at the end zone, or do you kick the field goal to take the lead into the locker room?
Well, now you have
decision, field goal.
There you go. You have to be very careful right there, because a sack, a bad exchange, anything half over. Take the 3 points.
And they've been in on him twice. The last 2 plays.
Aaron Campman's getting quick pressure on Drew Brees.
The Saints are lucky in a couple of regards here. One, to live to see this down, and secondly, that there was not a flag called on the first one.
Or an interception on that
Yes,
play.
exactly. So Garrett Hartley, the rookie out of Oklahoma, who's only kicked on the road in his couple of games as a Saint. First field goal attempt in the Dome from 30 yards. He knocks it through, and the Saints, 10 of their points, you really have to credit special teams. A poor punt by Green Bay gave them good field position, and Courtney Roby's great kickoff return there to make it 24-21.
That kick could have been good from all the way from maybe 32, huh, Jaws?
Wow.
Took an hour to get there.
Boomed through there, Yeah.
Where this game stands in terms of meaning, you see the division leaders in the NFC. The Bears, for the moment, the 6-5 team ahead in the North, because Minnesota-Chicago tiebreaker would fall to Chicago 4 right now. But this is why I'm talking about the importance for New Orleans. Look at the number of teams you have to climb over here. It's really unrealistic to think either one of these teams would be a wild card. It need a lot to happen over the last 6 games. It can. It need a lot to happen. So Green Bay's got to put its stock in the division, and New Orleans has to get to 6-5 ahead of the Eagles, and with that other group sitting up there at 7-4 and 8-3 for Carolina.
Well, at least in New Orleans' case, they do get 3 more divisional games.
Yes.
So it is right in front of them. If they win those games, it's like winning 2. You jump and jump again.
But it's hard because you have 3 teams to jump in the division. Yeah. Much harder than Green Bay. Even if you lose tonight, you're a game out.
To take a line from our friend Russell Baxter up at ESPN Research, if the season were to end tomorrow, here would be the playoff teams. And we're very good at doing that about once every half hour.
Garrett Hartley's kickoff into the hands of Jordy Nelson. Will bring it out to the 25 and send us to the locker room. It's the 3rd game in the NFL where each team scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. The other games ended up 48-41 and 41-37. We're on our way to one of those. Saints get the ball first. They lead by 3. Chris Berman, Toyota halftime show.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. And from all of us here at ESPN in the studio to everybody out there, a happy Thanksgiving and travel safely during it. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson. Well, if you like offense, 6 touchdowns and a field goal.
Hey, great offensive show.
Only 30 minutes, so this could be one of those abacus games, that's for sure. Well, the last Sunday before Thanksgiving had it all, didn't it? The 3 teams with the best records in football were all playing quality foes. Would they all survive? The team with an offer in the win column charged out to a big lead. Would this finally be the day? An interception return for a touchdown longer than any other. A title tilt north of the border in French. We begin with the last team standing on the road to perfection as we go with our fastest 3 minutes. And that would be, of course, Jeff Fisher's Titans hosting Brett Favre, the Giant Slayer and the New York Jets. Favre completed his first 8 passes, including this touchdown on the first drive to Thomas Jones, 7-0 Jets. Chris Jenkins and company stuffed the running game. More on that in a moment. Favre to Lavernius Coles. The Jets were leading in Tennessee 20-3. And when Leon Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Roosevelt on his way into the end zone, the Jets had won 34-13, leaving Don Shula's Dolphins still the only undefeated team. Well, the only defeated team, the 76 Bucks. Could the Lions get out of there? They led 17-0, but Rondé Barber and the Bucks made the pick. The Bucks won at 38-20. The Lions 0-11. Last year at the Big Toaster, Eli Manning and the Giants shocked the world. Well, against the Cardinals, Eli kept throwing. He threw 3 touchdown passes. This one to Kevin Boss, the G-Man, 10-1. Surprising Atlanta got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns for Michael Turner in overdrive. And from Louisville, Harry Douglas, what? He could go all the way. 61 yards, the Falcons roll the Panthers 8-2. They lost. Matt Castle to Randy Moss. Look, Ma, one hand. Chad Pennington to Ricky Williams. Dolphins lead the Pats. But Castle to Moss 3 times. Patriots win big in Miami. And if Moss did it, T.O. did it. The largest day in yards receiving for a Cowboy since '79. Cowboys beat the Niners. Look, Ma, one hand. Daniel Wilcox. Ravens showing offense. Eagles showing no offense. Donovan McNabb of the Eagles benched at halftime. Kevin Cobb, no! Ed Reed, 8 yards deep in the end zone. A new NFL record. What? He could go all the way. 108 yards. The Ravens roll the Eagles. How about the end of the game? 4th and inches. Peyton Manning, the Chargers, against the Chargers for the Colts, to Marvin Harrison. Setting up, how many times have we seen it? Adam Vinatieri would have been good from 61. Colts win their 4th straight. And north of the border, the Grey Cup, the 96th edition, Le Grand O. 63,000 looking for the championship. And there's the MVP, Anthony Calvillo, Montreal, Henry Burris from Temple. And that's the coaches, John Huffnagel and Mark Trestman. Montreal, Evan Coburn, ils peuvent aller toute la distance. But Calgary Stampeders, Burris to Brett Ralph. And watch out, it's a touchdown, but oh man, watch out, and oh! And here comes the cup. Dudley Do-Right and company bringing it out. Calvillo picked off by Shannon James. Calgary Stampeders win the Grey Cup 22-14 over Les Alouettes de Montréal. And the Alouettes sent us these things. Look, the Swam and Tom Jackson. It was the Calgary Stamps, the team that Doug Flutie won a cup with, team that Jeff Garcia won a cup with. Congratulations to them. We liked their game up north of the border. But south of the border here, we like the game of a few folks, Tom, game ball.
Well, Boom, there's been a lot of guys to play safety in this league, but Ed Reed, to me, instinctively the best big play safety maybe in the history of football, and certainly in the prime of his career, nobody better than Ed Reed.
And how about Matt Castle? He's become only the 5th since the merger to throw 2 straight 400-yard games. He was king of the castle for the Patriots in a big win. When we return, we'll read and react to the Titans finally coming up short. Why and how did it happen? Back in 30 seconds.
This halftime show is presented by Toyota. Moving forward.
Points, 406 yards. Pretty impressive first half for the Saints and the Packers, pair of 5-5 teams. Drew Brees and the Saints offense up next as they'll get the ball to start this 3rd quarter. Pivotal game for both teams against one of the top pass defenses in the NFL. Charles Woodson and Al Harris led Green Bay defense. Drew Brees has put up fabulous numbers in the first half. Tony Kornheiser, Ron Jaworski, Susie Colbert down on the field, Mike Tirico, our Monday Night Football crew, Jay Rothman, Chip Dean, rest of the crew in the truck. Glad you're with us for a good second half here in New Orleans. Mason Crosby kicked it. It's a way to slow down Courtney Roby. Kick him halfway back into the end zone. No return. Guys, where do we sit here going into the 3rd quarter?
Well, you always ask me what the people are writing. And the people from Green Bay and New Orleans, they aren't writing.
because they have no idea with the ebb and flow of this game which team is going to win, and they're watching two head coaches who are offensive coordinators calling up plays madly and getting scores, and you have to sit on your hands and wait because it almost looks like the last guy with the chalk is going to win this one.
Yeah, it seems real simple to me for the Green Bay Packers. Tighten up their man-to-man coverage. Coming into this game, only 51.5% complete against them. Tonight, Drew Brees has been shredding them.
Brees 13 of 16 in the first half. And begins the second half with a toss that is knocked out of the hands of Billy Miller by Al Harris. So the corner retreating, pulls off the coverage and makes the play.
Al Harris did a real nice job of abandoning his coverage. He had the deep receiver. He saw Billy Miller coming across the field, let his receiver go. Once he saw the ball had left the hand of Drew Brees, comes and makes a big hit on Billy Miller.
Big hit by Harris, who, when he's been involved in man coverage this year, has been next to impossible to complete passes on. He's been very good throughout the season. Second and 10, Pierre Thomas is kind of taking over the feature back roll here. Only 2 yards, 3rd and 8 coming up. Back to Brees in the first half.
Yeah, we talk about coverage. It's not only on the wide receivers. You'll see an excellent job by the secondary of the Packers. 1, 2, 3, 4, all covered. But the matchup is Pierre Thomas, a running back, on the linebacker, Brady Papinga. Pierre Thomas wins that matchup. A lot of times we talk about passing and completions. Those linebackers, tight ends, running backs, they are a big component in shutting a team down.
Third down for Brees and the Saints. Strike over the middle to Shockey to the 36-yard line. That's 5 catches and 57 yards tonight for the former Giant, 4-time Pro Bowler. Take Jeremy Shockey through the 4 grabs he made in the first half. He's had a big game for this team, 8 catches against Denver in week 3. Then he missed the 3 games with a sports hernia, really rounding back into shape. Had 6 grabs last week for the Saints against Kansas City. And another effective performance tonight at 5 and 57.
And the Packers brought in Brandon Chiller for pass defense. Right now, Shockey's having a very good day against them.
36, Brees ran into Pierre Thomas. The ball comes out. And it looks like the Saints have it back. Pierre Thomas, the back, was stepping up against the pressure, and Brees kind of got twisted in that pile. A rare knockdown, a rare sack of Drew Brees. Does not happen very often at all, even though it was his own team that kind of helped pile it on there. Once every 51 dropbacks. That's the fewest in the National Football League. And you see how different it is from the average. Every 16.5 dropbacks. Other NFL quarterbacks get sacked. Second down. That one's deflected at the line by Colin Cole. So Cole, who was in there pass blocking with Jonathan Goodwin, able to knock it away as Aaron Campman brought the heat.
Yeah, Colin Cole got no penetration in his pass rush, standing at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes, you know, getting stood up at the line of scrimmage can have some benefit. Cole reached his hand up, knocked the ball down.
Green Bay's had the 2 long drives of the game. They had a 12-play, 72-yard drive, and then when they got the ball back after New Orleans scored, they had a 14-play, 83-yard drive. Timeout called by the Saints. Brees unhappy as his guys miscommunicated. 3rd and 15 coming up.
Monday Night Football is brought to you by the GMC Sierra, the official truck of the NFL. Sears, this holiday, don't just give a gift, grant a wish. Sears. Bud Light, the difference is drinkability. And IBM, when you're ready to stop talking innovation and start doing, visit IBM.com/doing.
Great look across the river at the city of New Orleans. Been since back in 2002 when the Packers have come down here to visit, for the city with good memories. Green Bay winning Super Bowl 31 in this building. Out of the New Orleans timeout, the first they took in the half. 3rd and 15. Rush 3, dropping 8 in coverage. Breeze throws complete to Moore, just shy of the mark. Well, let's see the spot here.
Very close,
That's a
Michael.
good spot he got there, and that may be the first down. He got a very good spot.
Well, the Packers went with a 3-man rush, dropped 8 into coverage. Breeze had a lot of time to manipulate the secondary, found Lance Moore. See the high motion, get that stack release by Henderson. That's all Moore does, get to the sticks, turn back to the inside. Makes the catch. It looked a tad short, but he did get a good spot.
He got a better spot than he should have. It's where the ball is when the man goes down, and the ball was shy, in my opinion, of the yellow mark. And that yellow mark is unofficial, but it was spotted ahead of it, and it's a first down.
It's the imperfection of mankind. You just can't be absolutely sure where the ball is, and in a case like that, 4 inches either way, and you don't have a first down.
And it's a 3rd and 15 place, so the officials are spread out. He can't be right down the line there. He has to come in and mark it from a little bit afar. Mike McCarthy could have challenged that if he so chose, but decides not to. Oh, yes, he does. He is challenging it. So Mike McCarthy will challenge the play. We're waiting for upstairs to have his guys look at the replay and see what they thought. So the Packers will take a challenge, and Mike McCarthy does not challenge very often.
Green Bay will challenge the forward progress spot.
All right, so we'll look at the spot. Walt Coleman will take a peek. We'll step out for a minute. 2.5 into this high-scoring game in the third quarter. Okay, Mike McCarthy, who doesn't challenge often, his 16th challenge in his almost 3 years of coaching. Challenging the spot here. Lance Moore catches. See, the first down line, which is unofficial, is at the 46-yard line. I don't know. Do you think he comes down across the 46? Where the ball is?
No, I think he's short
down.
of the 46.
So short of the 46. McCarthy, his guys upstairs see the replay, and he goes 5-hole here on the on the official on the side, just to make sure you see this challenge flag before the spot. And again, we've talked about this often, but the assistant coaches upstairs watch the TV feed, and then they decide, one voice in the ear of the head coach, yes, you should challenge it. Walt Coleman will come out, took another official with him to write down the details.
After reviewing the play, the ball will be placed at the 45-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 1 for New Orleans. Green Bay will not be charged a timeout.
Now, can I challenge the challenge?
Yeah,
because that's overcorrected the spot. Because he's clearly over the 45, but shy of the 46. Now it's 4th and 1, and let's see what Sean Payton will do at his own 45.
I think it was somewhere between the 45 and the 46.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right. It's wrong.
It wasn't that short.
Now they have to go back and refigure where the down markers were, because they had been moved for the first down. I wonder if Sean Payton's going to request a measurement here. The question is, can they find exactly where the down markers were on the far side?
No, they've already moved them. And, of course, if it is 4th down, then what will Sean Payton do? He's a very aggressive play caller.
Now, from where they moved the ball when Walt Coleman said it was at the 45, they've moved it back up closer to where it should be spotted. So I think now they're in a good spot. But I haven't seen any move for the punter, Glenn Pakaluk, yet.
Earlier this season in the Minnesota game, the Saints were in this situation with the play action, but they had Reggie Bush in the backfield. Got the ball to him on the outside. He took it for a big gain.
Do you think they're going to go for it?
Yes, I do.
Well, now you'll get a measurement to see how far away it is. It's one of those, as a coach, you can request a measurement. Give me a good sense of how far I have to go before I make the decision. And that's a good foot and a quarter.
Yeah. Sean Payton is very unconventional. He's going to go for it here. This is what he likes to do. He has trust in his team. He believes in his guys to pick these up.
How much risk is there early? You're up by 3 points. Any risk?
Oh, there's a huge risk.
Is it really huge?
This is a huge risk. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
But you're standing 4 square with him on this.
No, I'm not. I'm waffling. I'm waffling a little bit. I'm saying this is what he does. This is how he plays the game. I'm not saying it's the right play.
Well, is it right?
I'll let you know in a minute.
No,
I would punt. If you ask me what I would do, I would punt.
Thank you.
Only 19 yards rushing for the Saints on 8 rushing attempts tonight. 4th and less than a yard. They'll go with a power play and get the first down. And Pierre Thomas almost squirted through the hole. He was down by contact at the 49. First down for the Saints, and let's check in on the sideline with Susie Caldwell.
Well, given how good this Packers secondary is, I asked Mike McCarthy what it says about Breeze. He said Breeze is playing great. He's playing faster than we are. We need to get more pressure on him, take away his vision. And Sean Payton echoed that. He said he is seeing everything. They take away outside the numbers. He hits inside. He's mixing it up well. And Mike, remember what Breeze told us? My best is better than their best.
Yeah, I heard you mention that in Monday Night Countdown, Susie. It reminded me of the challenge against Al Harris and Charles Woodson. So far, Breeze showing he belongs. Billy Miller, the tight end. Got a block on the edge from the tackle. Taken down by A.J. Hawk, now the middle linebacker for the injured Nick Barnett. Nice first down gain of about 7.
You know, often we talk about quarterbacks throwing from different platforms. Bodies around you, people in your face. Watch Drew Brees here. Aaron Campman's right in his face. Look how he gets on his toes and lofts the ball over Aaron Campman. How many times do you see a quarterback get the ball batted down because they try to throw the ball through the defender? Drew Brees does a terrific job right there of looping it over the top.
A nice job of the 9th-year man Miller out of USC. After that initial contact to spin away from the hit and gain 11 more. Thomas to the right. Pierre Thomas for the first down. Delivers the blow to Aaron Rouse and takes it to the 35-yard line. You know, we talk about the Saints being 5-5. The fans were a little disappointed. You said it right, Tony. Angst-filled fans in the first half. Who would have thought going into this year, talk about their injury situation, that Pierre Thomas would have as many rushing touchdowns as Reggie Bush and Deuce McAllister combined? Thomas has 5. Those two guys have 5.
Who would have even mentioned Pierre Thomas going into this year?
Only if you saw the Bears game last year with 105 rushing yards and 121
but you figured
yards.
It's all Bush and McAllister.
No doubt. No doubt. Thomas gains only a yard. You saw Deuce McAllister a bit in the first half, and McAllister is on the sidelines, his knee bothering him. He had that knee drained earlier this week, and you go back to a man who has been the all-time New Orleans Saint. Stat-wise, in terms of running backs, he's tied for the most touchdowns. They'd love to give him the opportunity to get a touchdown here tonight so he could set the all-time mark, breaking Dalton Hilliard's record. Second and 9 for Breeze with time, and was covered downfield, Marcus Colston, and the pass was incomplete. There's something, a flag down on the field. Back in the secondary.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 36, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So it'll be a first down for the Saints. So, guys, a lot around McAllister swirling, and Charles Grant, who's on injured reserve, and Will Smith, the starting defensive lineman. A month ago, there was a report out that multiple players are facing suspension for testing positive for use of a banned substance. These 3 Saints I just mentioned. The players consolidated their case appeal. The hearing took all day in New York last Tuesday. The players tested positive for bumetanide. It's on the NFL ban list because it can be used to mask the presence of steroids. The players say it was in their system not to mask steroids because they took a water pill. They have a weight clause in their contract. Pierre Thomas runs to the right, and the man who's filling in for McAllister gets 8 big yards on first down. So Deuce McAllister told us that the product that he used that got him in the situation he's used over the last 4 years. Now, David Cornwell, who's an attorney, has represented the 3 Saints in this case, spoke to him about it today. In their appeal, their key argument is that the independent administrator of the policy knew that the water pill had a banned substance in its content and didn't tell the players around the league. And they're sitting this whole specter the last month or so of will they be suspended, will they not be suspended? It's been the cloud hanging over the Saints throughout this last month. Thomas the carry. Pierre gets a first down to the 16-yard line. So why is that all factored to Deuce McAllister? What does it mean to the Saints fans? Well, if he's suspended after next week's game against Tampa, we haven't heard a hearing yet. It would be 4 games. It would be through the end of the regular season. with his age and with what's been going on with his contract, a high salary cap number next year, this could be the last game he plays in the Superdome. Not sure, can't say it with any certainty, but it's a possibility. And the fans would love to see a longtime Saint have one more touchdown in this building. From the 16 on first down, Breeze to the end zone, touchdown, Billy Miller. Miller's first touchdown of the year on the middle linebacker, A.J. Hawk.
What we saw that entire drive was Sean Payton mixing up the formation variations, dictating coverage. He got A.J. Hawk, normally an outside linebacker, now playing middle linebacker for his second game, matched up against Billy Miller. Really did not know how to defend him down the seam.
Garrett Hartley adds the extra point, and the New Orleans Saints take the opening kickoff, pick up a fourth down, and start the second half with a touchdown to take a 10-point home lead on the Packers. Joey Harrington now the third quarterback. Mark Brunell the number 2. And they're all lucky to be around Drew Brees, the top quarterback passing yards-wise in the National Football League.
Very good, Mike.
Yes. A 13-play touchdown drive. Saints up 10.
Not just lucky, but lucky sometimes to be around Brees.
Will Blackman takes him to the 6. To the 27-yard line. A bunch of cheeseheads. Packer fans have come down to root for their team. They travel well on the road.
They've also had some Breeze heads that we've seen. You got to love that. Not just cheeseheads, but Breeze heads.
Saints up 10.
Netflix.
Championship college football picture shaped with the games this weekend, including Florida before the SEC title game. They face Florida State and Maryland, BC. ACC Atlantic Championship on the line for the Eagles. Rivalry week rolls on 3:30 Eastern Saturday on ABC. Football with Texas and Texas A&M on Thanksgiving night. Bunch of important games on ESPN and ABC all weekend long. The 27th, first touch of the second half for the Packers. Ryan Grant a run for 5. Jaws take us back to Aaron Rodgers' first half performance.
Yeah, the play action pass game has been very good for the Green Bay Packers. Look at the play action fake. This will freeze the secondary. The safety comes down. The linebacker hitting it. By those two defenders hitting the run action, it opens up a beautiful lane for Aaron Rodgers to throw the football into Greg Jennings.
Rodgers, 1 touchdown passing, 1 rushing in that first half. Play action. Intercepted. Threw it right to Jason David down the sideline. Rodgers is there. David is out at the 5. First and goal. New Orleans. They'll mark him at the 3. First turnover of the game. Second interception of the year for David, intended for Greg Jennings.
Jason David playing underneath the route. He had help over the top. He undercut the route because he had help over the top. Terrific job.
It's a 43-yard return for David. Scott Fujita threw at 1 block. He had a big hit on Jennings, and then Rodgers.
Give him some credit for that.
Yeah,
staying with the play. That's pretty good.
What a tackle by Rodgers with Josh Bullock playing over the top. Allowed Jason David to undercut that route. That is a corner and a safety working in harmony, understanding each other's responsibility in pass coverage.
Deuce McAllister in the game for the Saints. Tied for the all-time franchise touchdown lead. Breeze throws for more. Slipped, incomplete. Coverage by Tramon Williams, the 3rd cornerback.
That was one of those plays a quarterback and a wide receiver worked every single day on. That's where you have to make that eye contact. It's a back shoulder throw. Here's the interception by Aaron Rodgers. Off the play action, looks to the left. Jason David just in perfect position.
You saw Jennings slip there, but David took off
Wouldn't have
the
made a
route
difference, yeah.
before he fell down. Second and goal. They'll give it to McAllister. To the goal line, Deuce! Saints record. Touchdown. Most touchdowns, New Orleans Saints history. Deuce McAllister. Garrett Hartley, 38-21. Last 3 years, Deuce McAllister, 2 left ACL surgeries, microfracture surgery in his right knee. Beloved in this city. Now the all-time touchdown maker as a Saint. Nice moment here in New Orleans through the timeout. Many of the fans standing and cheering for Deuce McAllister, who sets the all-time Saints record, and that smile. Really a warm, charming guy. Pleasure to be around. The knee surgeries we talked about. I love you. Sean Payton.
That's great.
Deuce McAllister. And that love affair carries to the loyal fans of this franchise. And a couple of yards deep, Blackman brings it out. Slides and falls just shy of the 20-yard line.
Staying with Deuce McAllister, he was not unaware that he needed 1 touchdown to set an all-time Saints record. We talked to him the other day, and you know, about the possibility this might be his last game here, and asked him how he wants to go out. He said, I'd like to do something great, winning the game, obviously. And then we asked him, well, would you like to score the winning touchdown on the last play of the game? And he said, no, I don't want it that close. Let it be decided earlier than that. That touchdown plays right into his wildest dream.
Yeah, he talked about the love affair with the fans here. He told us, I've been through so much with these guys. A lot of bad times, some good times. Katrina playing in Baton Rouge, living out of San Antonio. We've seen some ugly times, but also good times. A memorable one here tonight. Rodgers and the Packers in a huge hole. Got to get going. To Greg Jennings complete a gain of 4 yards. Keep in the back of your mind on that kick return, Will Blackman kind of walked over to the sideline slowly. So watch that next time the Packers have a kick to return.
The Packers have to be much more aggressive in their play calling right now. They almost have to abandon the run. They're down 17 points now. They got to get their offense going. And the way to do it against this Saints defense is via the passing game. Here we are, the empty formation, spreading out that Saints defense.
Second and 6 against a 3-man rush. Rodgers is still flushed by Bobby McCray. He has to run to the sideline, only gain a couple of yards. Right in front of Sean Payton, Antoine Lake. Really showing his head coach that he's hustling. So 3rd down coming up for Green Bay.
You think they should abandon the run?
To a certain degree, yes. You got to turn a little bit of a throw ball right now. You know, the way the Saints are scoring, you know, you've got to score quickly.
This one's 3rd and 3. Twisting 4-man rush. Another interception. Jason David again. He's whistled down back here at the 29-yard line. Back-to-back possessions. An INT from Jason David.
It's the greatest night of his career in the couple of years he's been with the Saints.
First career multi-interception game for Jason David.
Yeah. Jason David does a real nice job of driving this route. It looked like Aaron Rodgers expected Jordy Nelson to keep coming to the inside. Yeah. He did not. He settled down. Jason David kept running inside and made the interception.
Really struggled moving from that cover 2 that Indianapolis played for many years. Now coming here, really came in as a nickel role at times this year, but because of injury, elevated back to a starter. And Rodgers picked for the 8th time, and now a huge advantage for the Saints. They can go up 24 points with a touchdown on this drive. Breeze, Billy Miller. Tight end plows through Charles Woodson to get close to the 20-yard line.
You know, we sold this game that if you were going to see defense, you were going to see Al Harris and Charles Woodson and the Packers, and they would shut down Drew Brees. We didn't sell it on Jason David. And what we've seen tonight is Brees has been able to do whatever he wants passing the ball, and I can't imagine that Aaron Rodgers thought this would happen to him, because their pass defense comes into this game ranked 26th in the league. Turnabout.
And of course, that Packers defense via quarterback rating was the best in the league. The quarterback rating against them was only 59.
Double pass.
Here we go.
Lance Moore can throw, will throw. It's going to be picked off. Picked off by Aaron Rouse, who's got some room to run. Aaron Rouse, with a lot of Packers there, is taken out by the man who threw the interception, Lance Moore, at the 42-yard line. So Sean Payton went for the knockout shots with the double pass, having the receiver throw it. Aaron Rouse didn't bite.
He's so great, Sean Payton. He went for all of it at that point, and you can sit back and say it was dopey. He'd do it again and again and again and again. So he is.
Aaron Rouse made the interception. Brandon Chiller had a huge shot on the receiver Lance Moore throwing that gadget play pass. And we get the turnover. Chiller's had an awesome night. 9 tackles, 1 sack. And his pressures certainly help, but Aaron Rouse's attention to detail, getting the Packers the ball, and good field position. Ryan Grant chased down by Scott Shanley. So the night for Lance Moore. Free agent out of Toledo, bounced around, practice squads, all that stuff. Caught 2 touchdowns. Now trying to throw one. Oh! Chiller hits him, and then watch what he does.
Look at this shot. Lance Moore will have a better appreciation for the quarterback position now.
But like any good quarterback, like Aaron Rodgers did on that last play, which prevented a touchdown, he threw the pick, he got up and made the tackle.
Yep.
Yeah. Second and 12, Rodgers to Jordy Nelson. Big hit on the Kansas State rookie by Usama Young. Scott Shanley finishes it up. We'll have 3rd down coming up for the Packers, who haven't been able to move it in this second half.
Moore was launched in the air. You see that at bullfights. You really do. You just
4 yards.
Lifted completely up in the air and driven back 4 or 5 yards.
You know, it's interesting watching the game right now. There's a lot of energy on that Saints defense. They are flying around the football field.
Haven't seen this kind of energy from them in at least the last month.
No, you're right.
Watching their games. Yeah, good point, Josh. Third and 5. Rodgers keeps the play alive and nearly intercepted again. Roman Harper out of Alabama from his safety spot forces 4th down. And the Saints secondary is playing like the Packers secondary plays.
We said in the open, the safeties Kevin Casehart and Roman Harper must play well. They're the 2 deep defenders. They are playing well tonight. Here, look at the, you see Usama Young get beat, but the safety helps him out. Usama Young can play underneath that rock because he knows he has help over the top, and Roman Harper does an outstanding job of filling in the void, knocking the ball down.
So the turnover yields nothing to the Packers. Derek Frost kicking to Lance Moore from the 16. Moore gets it out to the 27-yard line. Return of about 11 yards. With Reggie Bush being out the last 3 games, they haven't had any catches and punt returns since Bush has been out until that one right there by Moore.
One of the oddities about what's happened to the Saints this year is they have never won 2 games in a row. They've won 5 times and never followed it up with another win. And one of the things that Sean Payton told us that he received a text, I believe it was, from a friend in the coaching profession. I think we could all guess who that might be. Which said, you got to get on them this week. You've got to finally win 2 in a row. So this looks like it.
27, they go on the ground. Back to Deuce McAllister, gain of only a couple of yards. If you're just joining us, we started the night setting the perspective on Drew Brees. Most passing yards in the first 10 games to start a season in the NFL history. And you see the 1,583 yards to break the record that belongs to Dan Marino, throwing for over 5,000 yards in a record-setting season of '84. And Josh, you played with him a couple of seasons later in Miami.
Yeah, in '87, '88, I backed up Dan Marino down in Miami, and there was no better passer in the history of the game. Dan can throw the football better than anyone.
28, Brees buying time. Swings it to McAllister. Not much room there. Justin Harrell made the tackle. Only a gain of a couple of yards.
People know that it's Marino's record, maybe. They probably don't know what the number is. It's 5,084 yards. Drew Brees did not know what the number was when it first was brought up to him. He said, I knew it was Marino. I knew it was a lot of yards. And I asked him, what is sort of the 714 number in football? And he thought it was touchdown passes in a given year.
Sure.
And he's totally aware of that because it went from 48 to 49 to 50 relatively recently. But he didn't know this number, and he said, I don't even want this record if we're a 500 team.
37. Brees stepping up on the run. It is caught in stride by Marcus Colston. Will he beat Woodson? Yes! Touchdown!
Wow.
The second 70-yard touchdown pass of the night by Brees.
Drew Brees, pocket mobility. As he's looking down the field, he sees Marcus Colston do a little double move on Charles Woodson. Drew Brees kept his eyes down the field as he was moving in the pocket. When he did break the pocket, he wasn't looking to run. He was looking to throw. Great vision. That's what separates quarterbacks at this level. They have to see the entire field. Drew Brees does that.
First catch of the night for Colston, who had two fabulous seasons in '06 and '07. Garrett Hartley adds the extra point. A 4-touchdown pass night for Drew Brees. Now 22 on the season and over 300 yards passing here tonight.
By the way, he's got 10 guys on the team with at least 10 catches. He's got 15 guys in all. He's thought 15 guys have caught passes here. It's impossible, and his best receivers, Mike, have been hurt sufficiently during the season.
Oh, Colston's one of them, Tony.
Yes.
He had a left thumb injury, a little bit of a knee injury, struggled. Really disappointing that he was not able to get back in with Brees on that same level where they were clicking through the last couple of games. But bouncing back with that first catch here tonight. Devery Henderson, Meacham. And you pointed out what we said at the beginning, talking about the cornerbacks from Green Bay, and that setting up the game.
The best.
One thing they've done tonight is spread out. Shockey has 5 catches, Billy Miller 4, Pierre Thomas 3. So 12 catches to running backs or tight ends. They're able to take the Woodson-Harris factor a little bit more out of the game, and then get you one chance and you beat them.
And when Sean Payton says, I want the ball in Drew Brees' hands, now everybody can see why.
Marcus Colston able to break the plane just barely there. Not doing the Deshaun Jackson play that we saw week 2.
Right.
But he's darn close. As his foot hits there. If they would have chose to review that and take a second peek, the way he flipped it, it would have been out of bounds out of the end zone at a touchback. But just as he gets to the line there, figured somebody would learn after seeing that on Monday night. Week 2 in Philadelphia. Nice kickoff return by Blackman out to the 33-yard line. Penalty marker is down on the return.
Holding, 93 for the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Packers start deep in their own territory. We asked Brees how much importance he places on breaking Marino's single-season record for passing yards.
I want to do it within the realm of winning football games. You know, I mean, that's what I'm concerned with here is, you know, not going out and throwing it 50 times a game just to try to break a record. I mean, we're playing the games to try to win, you know, and obviously if you're focused on that, if you're focused on just, you know, one game at a time and one series at a time, one play at a time, just, you know, doing what you're supposed to do and just understanding that, you know, all that stuff will take care of itself.
And certainly it has been within the context of the game tonight. They've had no running game. And Breeze in the last 8 possessions has helped lead the Saints to 6 touchdowns and a field goal, scoring on 7 of their last 8. Packers down 24. Will be a lot in the air. Jordy Nelson to the 20-yard line.
Apropos of what Breeze was saying, doing it in the context of winning, the 3 people who had the most 3 yards, Marino in '84, Warner in 2001, Brady in 2007, all went to the Super Bowl. Nobody was 5-5. All went to the Super Bowl. That's the context Breeze is talking about.
Blitz, Rodgers stepping up. A couple of yards shy of the first down under Bobby McCray. Green Bay down 24 points here in the 3rd quarter. And we kind of take the story from the New Orleans side. Understand this is a big momentum swing 2nd and 3rd quarter. Look at the Packers here for a second, guys, at 5-5. They thought they were in great shape with how they dominated Chicago at Lambeau last week. I mentioned at the very beginning, they're 5-5 but confident about it. They said, well, we played pretty well. You always got to be careful when you're thinking maybe we're better than our record is.
Different story tonight.
Much different. Rodgers completes for the first down to Donald Driver up to the 28-yard line with a minute left in the 3rd.
But you're right about that, Mike. Mike McCarthy said to us, I feel good about my team. I feel we've been consistent. We've never had a coach say anything other than my team is inconsistent. McCarthy, I believe, thought he was going to win this game handily. Very confident.
After the first down of the 3rd quarter, a pass for Jennings is incomplete as Rodgers had to retreat a little bit. The story in the NFC North, Chicago won easily at St. Louis yesterday. The Vikings had a nice win over a Jacksonville team that was empty in effort down in North Florida. So they are both at 6-5, and the Packers were trying to join them here tonight. Meantime, the Lions season continues. Thursday, 12:30. Be right there to see the Titans.
Go, right?
Tradition unlike any other.
We know Mike will be there along with Jordan.
Yeah. We'll be hanging there at 12:30. Watch them take a lead and then blow it. 2nd and 10. And Rodgers almost intercepted again by Randall Gay. And the anticipation of the Saints corners, this group looks like a very different bunch.
This is interesting because the other thing that McCarthy said when we asked him, what do you like most about Aaron Rodgers? He said decision-making and accuracy. And he has not been accurate. The decisions are probably fine, right? But the accuracy has not been there tonight.
And the reason there has been pressure on him. You know, they're in the known passing situation. The Saints defense is getting off the football. They are attacking him. He has to get rid of the football quicker than he would like to.
Rodgers, 4 of 9 in the quarter. He's thrown 2 interceptions. Down the seam, big play for Torrey Humphrey, the 3rd-year tight end out of Central Michigan. Gain of 31, 2nd long gain of the season for him.
Tony, I think it would be safe to say they've abandoned the run now.
Yes, they have. They've listened to you.
Kevin Case-Faharn lost a shoe. He comes out. Rodgers to Jordy Nelson. A couple yards shy of the first down. Going to bring the 3rd quarter to an end. A 21-0 3rd quarter for the New Orleans Saints. The Packers, some big-time trouble in the Bayou tonight.
You have
home for the Saints. Touchdown to Billy Miller after they picked up a 4th and 1 on that drive. Then Aaron Rodgers was picked off by Jason David. Had 2 interceptions in the quarter. Rodgers knocks him out at the 3. 2 plays later, Deuce McAllister breaks Dalton Hilliard's record. Most touchdowns ever by a Saint, 52. And what about this throw, Ron?
Look at this throw on the move. Accurate throw down the field. Wow.
70-yard pass to Marcus Colston. The 2nd 70-yard touchdown pass thrown by Breeze. He hit Lance Moore in the 1st quarter. And that's how we have arrived at 45-21. As we begin the 4th quarter in the Superdome, Mike Tirico, Tony Kornheiser, Ron Jaworski, Susie Colbert, and the rest of our Monday night team. Start with 2nd and 2. And a pass that is knocked down at the line of scrimmage as Randall Gay was coming in, blitzing off the corner. Played in 2 Super Bowls, won 1. Gay came back to his native state, college at LSU, and he's from Baton Rouge.
Gary Gibbs, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, has really mixed it up tonight. There's been some zone, some man, some blitz, some zone blitz. They've really kept the Packers offense really out of balance.
Former head coach at Oklahoma. He moving on this defense. They've allowed 25 points a game this year. 24th in the league. Shot for the end zone. And out of the reach of Ruzell Martin, the 4th wide receiver for the Packers. James Jones, normally their 4th receiver, out tonight with a knee injury. It's 4th down and 2, and the Packers will go for it. Down 24.
This really has been an amazing epiphany for the secondary of the Saints. This is not what I expected from them this evening. They have been all around the football.
A run on 4th and 2 with Brandon Jackson. Jonathan Vilma tried to pull him back, but the spot will give him a first down inside the 33-yard line.
The Saints defenders have been all around the football before, but usually when it's being spiked by someone in their end zone, having just gone 45 yards with a pass. They've been fabulous tonight.
And you consider you're down to Randall Gay and Jason David, who really are your 4th and 5th corners.
Yes.
Because to play like they're playing tonight, tribute to them and the coaching staff getting ready to go.
We have a whistle. I know Sean Payton's taking a timeout here. Okay, not challenging the spot at all, but just going to take a timeout for his defense. The second timeout the Saints have taken here in the second half.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by the phenomenal 4 from Mitsubishi. 4 cars, 4 cylinders, 0 compromises. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. And NFL.com. Vote for the 2009 Pro Bowl at NFL.com/Pro Bowl.
Tonight's aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. So happy for the folks here in New Orleans who have really tried to rebuild post-Katrina and help attract big events here. The word earlier this week on Wednesday when the NCAA awarded the men's Final Four in 2012 right here in the Superdome, where there have been 4 Final Fours, including a victory by Syracuse 2003 last time. First and 10, Rodgers sacked by the rookie out of USC. Cedric Ellis, who's auditioning for Warren Sapp's role on Dancing with the Stars.
And Jason Spitz, a right guard for the Green Bay Packers, got beat immediately. Aaron Rodgers had no chance. Ooh. Nowhere to go but down.
Spitz began the season at center for the injured Scott Wells. Wells came back. Spitz moved to his guard spot. We've been saying all along, no Mark Tauscher since the first drive. Tony Mall has played right tackle. Rodgers, big hit. How in the world did Jennings hold on? He caught it, and a flag is thrown for the hit. Man, what a shot Jennings took.
What an incredible throw and catch. And then the hit by Roman Harper. Check this out. It looked like a pretty clean hit. He led with his shoulder, hit him in the chest. That's a tough call to make.
Yep.
That's a good hit by Roman Harper.
Now, all the officials are discussing
a legal hit, I should say. A good hit, but a legal hit.
They're discussing it right now. Did he lead with his head? Was it a defenseless receiver? Would be the questions that they're asking there. But he caught the ball, so he's not defenseless.
There's no foul on the play. The receiver was a runner, had completed the catch. First down.
That's a very good job by the officials to all have a conversation as that happens so quickly. Unfortunately, Jennings is okay.
Yeah, really good job by Walt Coleman and his officiating staff. Talk to the guys, get it right. They got it right.
It's a great catch.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a great catch. I don't think I would have hung on to that ball, Charles.
No, I know you wouldn't have hung on to that ball.
No, I don't think so.
In fact, you wouldn't be on the field.
Oh, George showing the typical jock prejudice against the guy who didn't play.
At the 17, a little confusion defensively here for the Saints in the back end. Rodgers stepping up, taking off, sliding down. We'll mark it at the 11 where the slide began. Down 24 points with 13 minutes left.
And he had Greg Jennings right down the middle of the field. It was one of those situations where I believe Aaron Rodgers left the pocket too quickly. Watch Jennings right here. Look for the hot. He beat Vilma quickly down the middle of the field. Rodgers did not see him. Sometimes athletic quarterbacks like to leave that pocket a bit too soon.
6 runs, 28 yards for Rodgers tonight. Everybody's put up points in the red zone this year. The take-up. This looked more designed as a run for Rodgers. Down to the 5-yard line. First and goal, Green Bay.
Well, this is the Packers' version of the Wildcat.
Have we
Clearly a quarterback draw, double team the nose, follow the block.
Have we had a Wildcat snap here tonight?
No, we haven't.
It's unbelievable.
No,
Throw these guys out of the league. I thought they were play designers.
Yeah, you know, the Dolphins got shut down with the Wildcat yesterday, so everyone's abandoning it.
Yeah. Didn't think Belichick and company were going to be fooled the second time on that.
Don't think so.
I'd say they worked on that a time or two. First and goal, you're in a situation where you're probably going to go for 2 down here, since you're down 24 if they score, and they do with Ruvell Martin catching his first touchdown of the year, 30-year man out of Saginaw Valley State.
Well, the Packers get a touchdown. Can they get a stop on defense? Aaron Rodgers poised in the pocket, standing tall, surveying the football field, delivers a strike.
Martin, who had 5 career touchdowns, 4 of them last year, and down 24, 6 and 2, 3 times will get them back in it. So that's why the math tells you go for 2.
Well, that Syracuse education comes up big every once in a while, doesn't it?
It's the first time Mike McCarthy's team has gone for 2 in his 2+ years as Packers head coach. Wow, that's bizarre. And they convert it with Ruvell Martin to make it 45-29.
You notice the haberdashery change with Mike McCarthy. He is wearing a blue Sharpie and not a red. He switched at halftime. Don't know if it's good luck so far.
Game not over yet. A lot of points tonight, a lot of points all week in the NFL. 831 total points, most in any week in NFL history. Obviously, you've had the most number of teams we've had in the league now at 32. But by average, almost 52 points average per game, highest in 21 years. Saints have their hands team up. Onside kick attempt by the Packers is recovered by the Saints at the 43-yard line. So Lance Moore with the recovery. Saints had 10 up there. With 11:44 left, they were not fooled. I'm surprised that once they saw the hands team, Packers still went onside.
Have to give Jaws credit. He said, you know, it's not a second guess. He said before they even lined up, you said, Jaws, that you would not try an onside kick.
I would not have. I would have kicked the ball, put my defense out there. They're going to need a stop defensively somewhere along the way here. Of course, they haven't stopped them yet in the second half, so maybe they just figure we'll go the onside kick and take our chances.
This is the 42-yard line. The Saints' record for most points in the game is 51. They've done it twice. They're a touchdown away from it here. Pierre Thomas, A.J. Hawk, and Brady Papinga make the tackle. A gain of about 7 yards. So the Saints offense, year 3 under Sean Payton. Number 1 in passing, 19th in the rush. Last year, 3rd in passing, but a poor performance rushing, 28th. This year, again, back to number 1 most yards passing, and a running game not there to complement the passing game. Now, tonight, it has been a very similar story where you've had everything done via the pass and very little done by the rush for the Saints.
But numerically, if you're going to have the number 1 pass offense, how high can you reasonably expect to get with a rush offense? I mean, you got to figure it's not going to be in the top 10.
No, you would figure that. But
15 would be good.
But you start talking about wherever the number ends up, you have to have some sort of a balance. Balance is the ability, not necessarily the numbers of, but the ability to dictate when you need to run, and when you need to pass.
And this is a Packer defense that against the rush has given up 147 yards a game. That's 27.
Here's Pierre Thomas at the 35. Gain of a couple of yards to Tony Jaws. We've been here a bunch of times to see the Saints over the last 3 years, and we've seen Reggie Bush a lot. And some of those passing yards equate to those long handoffs, those little swing passes and things like that. So that's where those numbers do skew a little bit.
It's one of the reasons, to be quite frank, that not many people expected the Saints to win tonight, because Reggie Bush was not out there. And Green Bay comes in with that great pass defense that you think would throttle Breeze to some degree. Has not happened.
But Pierre Thomas has showed up. Jeremy Shockey has showed up. Billy Miller showed up. They've worked that inside the numbers area of the field with great success.
Toss to Thomas, who's going to be out shy of the first down as Colin Cole came up to make a play. Johnny Jolly and Aaron Rouse have hobbled off with injuries after the last 2 plays. Now on 4th down from the 32, not a rock-solid field goal kicking game. Let's see what Sean Payton will do.
Well, they went for it on 4th and 1 from their own 45, so I guess they'll go for it here.
That was the play. That may be the most pivotal play in the game when they went for it on 4th.
That's correct. That is correct. That got momentum going. Like I said, it was a play most coaches in this league wouldn't do. They would have punted the football, but you know, you have to have a feel for your team. Sean Payton felt good about his team, was successful.
Now 4th and 1 here, and the Packers can't get a stop that could have kept them in the game for another couple of minutes. A first down run by Thomas. So they'll keep it alive for Drew Brees, who has been alive and kicking here all night. 4 touchdown passes, 70 yards to Lance Moore in the first quarter, and then the second one for Moore from 14 yards out. Then in the third to the tight end Billy Miller at the back end of a 21-point third quarter, 70 yards to Marcus Colston. A 4-touchdown night for Brees. He has 22 in the first 11 games of the season. Beating up on Al Harris and Charles Woodson and the rest of the Green Bay secondary. Thomas into the clear, and the Saints tie a record for the most points they've ever scored in a game. And the Louisiana leap in the Superdome end zone.
Right side, the Saints offensive line just blew out the Green Bay defensive line. Jonathan Goodwin at center, Jari Evans at right guard, John Stinchcomb at right tackle. And throw in the tight ends, Jeremy Shockey doing a terrific job, and Billy Miller, and that's what you get. A nice alley to the end zone.
The Saints here at 51-29 are going for 2.
Are they trying to get higher in the BCS standings to get to a better bowl game?
I think they're trying to extend it back out to a 24-point lead, so the Green Bay would have to go touchdown and 2-point conversion 3 times. I would just take the kick here and make it 23. Unless their kicker's hurt, I don't think he is.
Let me pull my chart out here and see when to go for 2. Up by 22?
Curious. McAllister stumbles, and for the moment they stay tied with the all-time record. And some of the Packers a little frustrated in there, pushing and shoving. They don't like the fact that New Orleans was going for 2 there. The lead is 22. You guys had a very heated conversation about that at the start of the show tonight, so we'll share some of that with you. Yeah, very interesting conversation. Coach Ditka was very clear.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks Andy Reid should have told McNabb himself about the situation.
I would agree. I agree with that. That part is correct.
80 total points here tonight, the 5th time in the 600-plus Monday Night Football game history we've had an 80-point game on a Monday. Will Blackman absorbed the initial hit, kept going, and finally taken down at the 29-yard line. Case Fahard over there. So Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good first half going when the Packers took the early 7-0 lead. Looked sharp. You see the good fake that he used on Case Fahard to get the rushing touchdown. But the second half's been a far different story. A couple of picks by Jason David.
Turnovers were the story. You turn the football over, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Once again, -1 or worse in turnovers, 77% chance of losing.
The Packers 2 turnovers to the Saints 1. Rodgers down the middle. Pass is caught by Jennings. Bumped down by Case Faharn shy of midfield. Just to go back for one brief second to that 2-point conversion. I just don't understand it because and the kicker is healthy because he just kicked off. If you kick the extra point, you go up 52-29. Even in a disaster situation, you now force Green Bay to make 2 2-point conversions after their 3 touchdowns. Now you've allowed them to only make 1 2-point conversion after scoring 2 touchdowns. 2 other touchdowns. 3 total.
False start, 76. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
The whole thing's very unlikely to play out, but
yes,
I just think you take your advantage by getting the extra point and go 52-29.
Well, we've had this discussion I don't know how many times this year. I believe you only go for 2 when you have to. I don't think with a 22-point lead you need it to go for 2.
That's one of the stories going forward. Mark Tauscher injured on the first series. He's been out all night. There are injuries in the secondary. Pat Lee and Aaron Rouse. Nick Collins has been hobbled. Atari Bigby with his ankle. So the Packers are going to have a very short and tough week as they return home. Pastor Ruvell Martin there. They return home to play Carolina at Lambeau on Sunday.
Yeah, Carolina, a very physical football team.
Panthers tied atop this NFC South that the Saints are in with the Buccaneers. Rodgers to Jennings. Scoots to the sideline with the first down.
George, you going to bite my head off if I bring up the far thing
Yes, I will. Yes, I will, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers.
He's having a great year. No, not that he should be concerned about it. I'm just saying around the country, when people look at the Green Bay Packers, they look at Aaron Rodgers and they make silent comparisons in their own heads to Brett Favre. And Favre has the Jets at 8-3, and Favre has 20 touchdown passes. And Aaron Rodgers is having an absolutely stellar year. On a stage like this, people say, oh, did they make the right choice?
From the 33, Brandon Jackson gets it to the 25. Josh, you want to go first?
Go ahead, both. Go ahead. I'm trying to articulate what I think people, not in Green Bay, but around the country, do.
Long term. When you make the change to Aaron Rodgers, you look at your quarterback for the next 8 to 10 years. It was a tough choice, and I really believe in the short term, Favre probably would have been the better choice, but it was a long-term decision.
Pressure. Rodgers steps up, throws a hot shot downfield for Jennings. It's incomplete. Rodgers just missing there. So here are the numbers comparing the two. That after week 1, when you guys showed these, I was down on you. Right. Down on all you guys again. Go ahead.
Down.
You knock yourselves out. Have fun.
No, but I'm Favre. Look, Favre's 8-3. Aaron Rodgers is about to be 5-6. Rodgers has been great. He got a huge contract, and deservedly so. I just think when people make the comparisons in their mind, they wonder, was it the right decision just for this year?
Second and 10 throw by Rodgers over the hands of Jordy Nelson, incomplete. I think it's all balance. Where were the folks a month ago when Favre and the Jets stunk out the joint in Oakland?
They were screaming that he was overrated and it was a bad move.
But nobody was saying, boy, they made the right move with Aaron Rodgers. So you can't take this on, at least to me, you can't take this on a week-to-week thing. Right. The Jets and Favre have done wonderful in large part because of Favre. He hasn't completed percentage passes in 3 consecutive games ever in his career like he has the last 3, over 75%. He has certainly had a major impact on the Jets, but he's not the only reason they've turned it around. Rodgers controlled by Randall Gay, and they blow it dead there for a sack at the 30-yard line.
No, they're a far different team than they were last year, and they have Chris Jenkins and all of that. I just think that, I mean, what am I doing here if I'm not here to try and give that kind of, perspective in terms of, well, you might say, yes, what are you doing here?
You're looking at your watch saying, no, but this game's taking a long time.
But there are people out there who look at the Packers in that prism all the time. And Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy made this choice. And I'm not denigrating Rodgers. He's had a terrific year. But that sort of smoke is out there.
I think it's a national perspective on it. I know in Green Bay and Milwaukee, they've moved past this whole Farmer Rodgers deal. Rodgers trying to keep the play alive here on 4th down, throwing to the end zone, and it's intercepted by Case Bahar. It'll be the 3rd interception for Rodgers tonight, and the much-maligned Saints defense has helped New Orleans over the 500 mark, and as we talked about, Tony, you are what you are, and tonight the Packers are going to be under 500. Their first game was a 30-27 overtime game, so we'll see if Jacksonville and Houston, the Texans, can do that for us again next Monday night from Houston, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Did I hear we're inviting Jimmy Kimmel back for that game? We're going to lift his band for that game?
Absolutely. He is unbanned, and we expect him to be the first of many booth guests in that game. Maybe as many as 20.
Christian Slater on line 1, please. There's Mike Bell with the carry. He just signed by the Saints this week. Gains a couple of yards. Well, it's appropriate we have an 80-point game here tonight because the two men who keep all of the numbers on Monday Night Football on our air in our minds and in front of us have a couple of milestones. First off, Marty Aronoff, our colleague up here in the booth, inducted into the Greater Washington Jewish Sports Hall of Fame this past weekend. Marty, statistician for 33 years for many, many broadcasts, covered every significant sporting event. I've been lucky enough to have Marty by my side for the last decade of college football and NBA games and our Monday night games. He is the best. We congratulate Marty on that great honor. Bell with the carry for 3 yards. And Steve Hurt, you hear the Elias Sports Bureau all the time. So many stats, official stat keeper for many of the professional leagues in the U.S. Steve is in charge of the business at the Elias Sports Bureau. We're lucky to have him on Monday Night Football. And tonight is his 400th Monday Night Football game. Going back through the ABC days.
Wow.
400th. Only Frank Gifford has worked more Monday Night Football games than Steve Hurt. So thank you to Steve and to Marty, two of the best in the business.
They are stars.
Here's our man Marty.
Hey, there's
the best.
Marty. Little airtime for Marty.
The best. The only thing better than what these guys do with their job is their company. They're wonderful people in addition to being outstanding professionals. Back to Bell. Gains a few yards. He was signed, as I mentioned, this week because of all the injuries. He was with Denver in 06 and had 8 touchdowns. Picked up by New Orleans, and Sean Payton likes what he's seen from this guy for a couple of days.
Would you like to take a shot at the all-time amount of points by one team on a Monday night game that Steve Hurt would know from one of those 400 games?
He worked the game, right?
Would you like to take a shot?
It's under 60.
Okay, that's one down and 3 questions to go.
Maybe 58.
Maybe 58. Want to take another shot, or you want to go with 58?
No, I'll just let you go with the answer because...
The answer is 55.
55.
Indianapolis Colts 55, Denver Broncos 23 in 1988.
Why didn't you let me guess?
You want to take a shot?
55.
Very good, Joel. Of course, I got that information from Steve Hurt because I had no idea.
Saints take their final timeout as they milk the clock all the way down. 3:45 to go. A very intriguing time in the NFC. You look at the South this year. After tonight's performance with the Saints winning, guys, every team in this division over 500. And really one of the surprise stories of the year, the Atlanta Falcons, and what they've been able to do with rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, the Ryan Smith combo, the quarterback and coach respectively. Done a pretty good job. 7-4 behind Tampa Bay and Carolina, tied for the division lead. And we're a couple of weeks away from
seeing. Weeks away. Looking forward to that one.
Tampa and Carolina in Charlotte, and with what happened yesterday with the Cardinals, that could end up being for a 2 seed in the NFC if you win that division. Packers bring the heat. Nice job by Glenn Pakaluk, the punter, to get rid of it. Will Blackman lucky to field it on the bounce and return it to the 44-yard line. Lee Torrance made the tackle for the Saints. The NFC has kind of flipped it around this year, guys. The NFC is playing much better than they have in the last few years in the interconference games against the AFC. And it was funny. Do you remember a few years ago we were talking about who were the Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the NFC?
Yep.
And Tony Romo went from not starting the first quarter or the third of the season
to the Pro Bowl,
to making the Pro Bowl. Well, think about it now. The Kurt Warner, Eli Manning, Romo, who was out but now has come back, and he's been very good for Dallas.
These
and then
two
you have
guys.
Jason Campbell, Matt Ryan, and I haven't mentioned Drew Brees
and Aaron Rodgers.
And Brees obviously would be near the top of that list with Kurt Warner and Eli Manning. So all of a sudden you've got, and maybe that's why these teams have turned it around. Donald Driver took a big shot from Usama Young there. That's why the NFC has gotten better all of a sudden. You have a half-dozen solid quarterback situations.
Most of the quarterback news in the AFC happened in the first game when Tom Brady went down with an injury. But it is also fair to point out that in the last few weeks, the Indianapolis Colts, with Peyton Manning as quarterback, and the New England Patriots with Matt Castle, seem to be revived. And they resurrected, and nobody would be surprised if by the end of the season they weren't the best two teams in the AFC.
And then you look at the NFC quarterback situation. Donovan McNabb has been a perennial guy that goes to the Pro Bowl. He's struggling to keep his job right now.
Rodgers lost it, in trouble. He goes down. Bobby McCray comes back to get him at the 35-yard line. Well, Jaws, I hate to say this way, but you know what McNabb's going through. You've been pulled as a starting quarterback in Philadelphia. What kind of feelings do you think he's living through right now and trying to get ready to go again?
No, it hurts. There's pain. You're angry. You're bitter. You're not feeling good. You feel you should be the guy playing. You feel you're made the scapegoat. It happened to me after 9 years of being a starter. I lost my job to Randall Cunningham. I felt all those emotions. But you know what? You got to get over them. Because when you go back on the field, you have to play free. And I think when Donovan goes back on the field, he will be loose. He'll be more relaxed. The pressure is off.
Because you went back and played
a couple weeks later. Yes, yeah.
And it was different for you.
It was totally different. I mean, the mindset was different. You could relax. You know, what worse could happen? You've been benched. Nothing worse can happen to a player in the National Football League than to have your job taken away from you.
3rd and 19, Rodgers pass incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Here is the story with McNabb. Yesterday pulled at the half with 2 interceptions. Kevin Cobb came in. His numbers were just as bad. But it's been 2 really bad games for Donovan.
Well, he's been inconsistent for 4 games. As I look at the tape and see receivers open and Donovan not processing information quickly and getting the ball out of his hand to the open receivers, this wasn't a halftime decision where they saw Donovan was struggling. It was a cumulative effect of a number of those games where he wasn't sharp. And I really believe that if Kevin Cobb would have played better in that second half, the job probably would have been his.
Lance Moore get away from it. They need to help with some play calling, too. Running backs for the Eagles in the last 3 games, the running backs have only carried it 45 times, and they've been in close games. Not like they've been in blowout games where they have to throw to come back from behind.
Well, one of the reasons they don't carry it is because they can't make 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. They don't have that kind of back there. I would just ask you this, Jaws, because you played in Philadelphia. When Donovan McNabb comes out in a home game after being lifted for 1 half and is now the starter again, what is he going to hear from the fans in Philadelphia?
Well, he's going to hear it. The raspberries will be coming down from every level. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. You know, when you play well, you're revered in Philadelphia. You play poorly, they let you know it. You know, Andy Reid is really under the gun right now. There's a lot of pressure on him because now there seems to be some waffling at the quarterback position, and there has to be consistency at the cue. I don't care where you are.
New quarterback here. Drew Brees' night is done. The tackle of Mike Bell by Colin Cole. Mark Brunell, who was one of the guys who backed up. Do you want to say his name?
Who?
Brett Favre.
Yeah, right. But long time ago.
I haven't mentioned it in 10 minutes.
I haven't said Brett. No, but I know Brunell more from Washington.
Yeah, he backed up Favre, drafted by the Packers in '93, and has had a really good career during his Jacksonville days. 2 AFC Championship games.
Joe Gibbs brought him to Washington, started him for a couple of years there.
Yes, exactly. 3 years as a starter there for the Redskins total. It was 4 years, now backing up Brees here. Been a rough night for one quarterback and great for the other.
On November 20th game show. And because you can't watch every single game, we're going to show you the top plays from Week 12 in the NFL. All that and more next on SportsCenter. Mike?
Okay, Stuart, thank you. 2/3 of the season in the books. Drew Brees and the Saints will move to 6-5, a little bit higher up in the NFC wildcard chase. And Mike McCarthy's Packers are 5-6 with Carolina, Houston, at Jacksonville, a Monday nighter at Chicago, and the Lions in Lambeau to wrap it up after the bell carry. The night for Drew Brees, 20 of 25, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's a 15th straight game with 20 completions or more, an NFL record. On his way to the NFL record for most 300-yard games in the season. And that pass record continues. He now has the most through the first 11 games of a season in NFL history. 35-74.
Pretty good decision by Sean Payton to bring him here. Pretty good decision.
That was the first major free agency decision that Payton had to make. Brees was coming off the shoulder injury, the surgery. Some doubted how good he would be, how healthy he would be. Bell goes down. Al Harris the tackle. Jaws, some of the good stuff from Brees here tonight.
Extending the play in the pocket. Charles Woodson's going to be in real good coverage initially, but Drew Brees will step up in the pocket. Corners have a clock in their head, too. He thinks Drew Brees is probably going to be taken down. His clock goes off. It doesn't. This is when Marcus Colston uncovers. He feels the pressure is back. Drew Brees breaks the pocket. He escapes from Charles Woodson. 70-yard touchdown pass for the New Orleans Saints. Woodson's had a rough night. The secondary for the Packers have had a rough night. They came in here as a phenomenal defensive secondary. They were torched this evening.
Glenn Packalak, who was born in a city where they played a Super Bowl, Pontiac, Michigan. Picked it. Blackman muffed it. Got it. Down at the 24-yard line with 16 seconds left. Well, tonight's game, Tony, you mentioned the individual points in the Monday night game. Not going to achieve that mark, but it makes the top 5 list. 5th most combined points in a Monday night game, 80. Packers-Redskins game. A lot of Green Bay fans remember a quarter century ago.
48-47. I mean, who ever thinks that you're going to get to 95 and it's going to be 48-47? That was a year that the Redskins went to the Super Bowl to, I believe, try to repeat and were themselves beaten.
Yeah, that's right.
By Oakland, I think.
Saints go to Tampa and then Atlanta, so they got their 2 big division games coming up here. So the Bears will join the Vikings tied atop the NFC North at 6-5 as Green Bay has brought in Matt Flynn from LSU at quarterback to wrap this game up. The Packers going to be a game back and really shocked to their system, giving up 51 in New Orleans tonight. A night when Drew Brees enters the multi-faceted MVP conversation in the NFL for this year. Making it happen for real. 51-29. May we add our happy Thanksgiving wishes to all of you. Enjoy the holiday.